plastic bags on your feet.
Not the best, yeah.
You'll die.
All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. The highlights of the news: traffic accidents. A Beaver County man is being held for murder, and more later.
What's going on, y'all? You're tuning in to the highest rated, most listened to podcast to ever grace the airwaves, and you're a better person for listening to us. All right, maybe not, but you're really going to enjoy it anyways. This is Made to Motivate Podcast, and we'll be talking social media hot topics, pop culture news, the greatest in movies and music, and all things sports. Make sure you're following us on social media at Made to Motivate Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can watch the show on our YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and with that being said, let's get this show started. What's up, guys? This is Made to Motivate Podcast, Season 3, Episode 15. This is your host, Ryan Weiss, and I am joined, as always, by Jesse Young from Sports Illustrated.
What's going on?
How's it going, sir?
It could have been better.
It could be better. And Christopher, the championship winner, Film Freak Kessinger.
It's so bright over here. Did you get the light on a little bit more powerful
That's
today?
that
or-
beautiful
Well,
belt.
This is
I am also a
This is
championship
actually the
winner.
champion side right
You don't have
here.
a cool
Yeah.
belt or anything,
That's,
though.
that's true. I do have a cool trophy possibly on the way because I might be a two-time champ this year,
Bring it
depending
in.
on what happens tonight.
So you both won. Did you guys both win both? Because you were in two leagues,
Yeah,
right?
I went to the championship in the other league, and I got smoked by the guy. There was nothing I could do. He put up 193 points that
Oh,
week.
jeez. Jesse, did you win both?
I destroyed my dynasty league, and then tonight I'm up 17 points right now, facing Josh Allen, and I have the Bills kicker, who's gotten 10 to 12 points
Damn.
each of the last
Oh,
4
yeah.
weeks. So it's going to be close.
Leave it to us to get off topic so early. And we got Dan, the shoe guy, Sandman.
Hey.
Welcome back, sir. Good to have you in studio with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
What are you wearing there? You're the shoe guy, so what are you wearing?
Oh, the shoes.
Yeah, is that like a
What do you got
bustier?
on
What
there?
is that, a two-piece?
Yeah, it's a little something sexy.
These
I
are
got
dope.
some LeBron MVPs, LeBron 7s.
Super dope. Check
Nice
out
little cashmere.
AcroKicks330.
Love
AcroKicks330 on YouTube, Instagram. Dan really dropped.
Yeah,
Dan
dropped my
dropped
first video.
The
Did
first
you?
video was stellar.
Thank
it took
you.
me 3 sits, but I finally finished it.
You know, I mean, I'm glad I broke it down into
Mhm.
3. I'm working on the other 2, like editing and everything.
Can you say that YouTube
You
one more
sat-
time?
You sat through 3 sits of the first
AcroKicks,
video, but there's 3 videos.
AKROH. Kicks 330.
That's what you guys are saying. It was like a difficult video to make, or just a lot of.
A lot of
I do the same thing.
It's a lot of
Um,
shoes, so
All right,
I
and
think just to shorten it up, because for that type of thing, people aren't going to want to sit through like an hour and a half video, and I think it builds up the hype too for you because you can drop more.
yeah,
than
I mean, a couple of people I've talked to so far, they're like, when are you dropping that second video?
Yeah.
I can't wait. You got me excited to see what's next.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's my first ever venture into content making. And, you know, I learned some things. I too many cameras the first go around.
Simplify.
Just keeping track of hitting the record button on all of them and then lining up the audio. There's a lot that was going into it that I wasn't really expecting. I mean, I was expecting it, but not as in-depth as it is.
Mhm.
Ryan helped me out with the intro and a couple of the shoes, and I mean, it was hilarious seeing some of my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We
that-
briefly talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think like 2 weeks ago, I was telling them about
Yeah.
some of the
Outtakes.
and stuff
Yeah.
from you, and like just literally just
One was on these shoes.
crying. Yeah, dude. This shit was so funny.
LeBron James.
Take 16.
You gotta watch the video to see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So head over there, give it a watch, listen.
Yep.
Like it, subscribe, please.
Yeah.
Trying to get rich here on YouTube videos, so
Take some
same.
time to check it out. People don't understand the time and stuff that goes into that sort of thing. Even like with this show, you know, we talk about it on here. All this time it goes into editing it and recording it and putting it out. Like, it's not just we sit down and post a show online, you know.
Yep.
So it is helpful when you guys like, share, subscribe, check out Dan's page. Obviously, you know, following Chris and Jesse and stuff. So
For sure.
outside of that, Jesse, anything new and exciting since last week?
Not really.
Christmas was good.
Christmas was good. Got some really dope stuff. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff that I'm going to also be venturing into the YouTube world here soon. But I got a lot of stuff from that, like just sports gear stuff. Aside from the gifts you guys got me, which were fantastic.
Did you get anything to do recording and stuff?
I got a ring light and I got a green screen. So
Green screen.
And
Steph reached out to me about that, and I was like,
did she? I told her because I was like, this is a really good one. Like, I don't know.
I sent her a link for which one to buy.
Dope. Yeah, so I haven't like set it up or anything. It's pretty big, and
Yeah.
my basement room that I'm planning on using is not very big, so I don't know if it'll just have like some drapage on the bottom or something.
Yeah,
but
so I sent her a couple options. I think I told her to get the one that was 8 feet wide by 15 long.
Oh wow.
So that'll give you a decent background, but it goes under you as well.
that's what
So-
I figured.
Yeah, so it seems really long, but it's gonna roll out. So if you sit on it or whatever, everything is blocked out.
Right.
So
Yeah, so that'll be good. I still got some stuff I got to do to that room before I even get to that point.
yeah.
It's still probably, I'd say probably a month away before I even start like thinking of filming anything. But no, I got like little Brown's Chomps statue, and then the little brownie elf also,
Nice.
and nice little metal like cutout Cleveland skyline, just says Cleveland on the bottom and stuff.
Mm.
So a lot of cool stuff I'll use for the background on that and
Yeah.
things like that.
Where are you
So
gonna hang
it's
that
cool.
plaque up? Is it gonna go in the basement?
I don't know. I haven't decided if I want to put that in my office or if I'm going to
Okay.
put that in the basement because I have a lot of sports stuff in my office already,
Yeah.
but I got to figure out how I'm not great with like
Feng shui.
anything. Yeah. Like my garden, like my outside yard. Like I've always wanted to be like one of those yards where people look and they're like, damn, that looks nice. I don't know how to fucking put the pieces in the right place.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
I don't want to just have random shit on my shelves. Like this all looks good.
Yeah.
Mine would
your
be
neigh-
like Brown's helmet, statue. Like I don't fucking know.
Your neighbors
Some
are like,
Steelers shoes.
Nah, that wouldn't be there.
your neighbors are like, why don't you just try fucking mowing it for once?
It's true.
Bro,
I pay a guy to do
that's
that.
me.
That's Ryan's neighbor.
That's my neighbors. This at my last
Clean up
house-
some of the shit.
At my last house, we were in an HOA, and we'd get in trouble all the time because didn't fucking want to mow.
Let's get a couple housemates to.
I would love to have a housemate. I had someone I thought was going to come and mow, and she never showed up. So, fucking Brit.
Oh,
So good Christmas. Otherwise, though,
Yeah, good Christmas. Other than that, everything's been cool.
just chill.
Yep.
Everything's good at work and everything. It's cool.
Yeah, I did a meeting today. I'm going to be one of 8 teachers that actually gets kids in the building, and we are in charge of all of our students instead of just my program.
Nice.
Because they wanted to put together a team so that we didn't lose any of our kids going into the online stuff. Because last year we lost everybody.
Yeah.
So we met on that today. I got to go into the work this week, even though I'm on break, and get some stuff hashed out for that. But no, other than that, everything's been pretty copacetic.
Cool. Christopher.
Favorite movie week of the year.
Yeah.
Got it done. It's, now I'm going to weigh the process of 125 movies and ranking them all over the next 7 days. Yeah, it was a fun week. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but one positive sign is that all of my movies were pretty busy.
That's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I looked at Wonder Woman because I wanted to go see that, and like almost most of the showings that I pulled up,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was, now granted, you got to take into account they block off the extra seats,
Yeah.
but most of the theaters, there was nothing available except for like the perimeter and like the very front. Like everything was pretty sold out. So
Yeah, I expected it for Wonder Woman. Like, I knew going into that, I'm like, there's going to be people everywhere. But, like,
Yeah.
News of the World was nearly sold out.
yeah, Tom Hanks, man.
It's like, okay. But
Did you put that rating up for that yet?
for what, News of the World?
We can talk about it in Hollywood. I don't know if I checked it yet. I'm curious how that was.
Okay.
I didn't see it go up either.
Dan, anything exciting? I mean, it's been a while since you've been on, but at
Yeah.
least over the last week or
Here
holiday.
for his semi-annual
I know the
show.
little checkup,
Yeah, a little check-in.
Hey guys, they still
Yeah.
exist.
quarterly review. Shed's pretty much done.
Yeah.
Just got gutter work to put up. And
Are we talking Ryan Dunn or Dunn Dunn?
Wow.
honestly, Ryan done.
Fuck you
The snow
guys.
came and I was screwed. So I
Well,
mean,
let's not hope Ryan Dunn.
no, it's it's Ryan done. And
Assholes.
there's some things that I gotta finish. Some trim work, gutters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I was on vacation right before, like not the week of Christmas, but the week before,
Yeah.
and I needed to install the garage door so I can start moving stuff in. And on Wednesday, when all that snow started coming, that's when that was the day I had picked to start moving stuff in.
Perfect.
So I'm pushing my lawnmower into the riding lawnmower with flat wheels that I didn't realize it until I got it into the shed that they were flat. because the battery was dead.
Thankfully, I was busy that day.
Just trudging it through the snow around the house, but got it all in there. So got my car into the garage. Girlfriend's car's in the garage, so I made some space. That was a big project I want to get done before the winter. And then the shoe video, and did the unboxing and filming, and again, it'll be coming soon. The remainder.
Good stuff.
Good Christmas. I was happy with the family time.
Oh yeah.
This year it just seems more like it. You appreciate it more with the situation everybody's in now. So it was a good time. Had fun.
I go cry in the closet because I sat at home on Christmas by myself. So
Oh yeah.
Same here.
it's the first time in my existence I did not spend Christmas with my family. Literally, I sat upstairs by myself.
We didn't see any
sucks.
extended family, but we saw like immediate family on Christmas Day. So, but we didn't do aunts, uncles, grandparents, any of that.
Yeah, it was just my mom,
Immediate
dad.
family is Jose. Immediate family, or whatever his name is.
Wow.
What's his name?
Hit the button.
Oh,
His name is Josh.
Jesus.
The thoughts and comments of
That's-
Jesse Young do
that's
not
the Hispanic
reflect the
Jose.
motivated
No, it's
podcast
not.
in
Jose's
any
like the
way.
Hispanic Josh, right?
He came over on Christmas. Yes.
His name's Josh.
Yeah.
I feel like a dick.
Jesus.
You are a dick. This
He's
is the guy that wore the blackface for Halloween once.
Dude, he's super nice, but I wasn't being mean. I really didn't think his name. I didn't know his name was Josh.
I wonder if he'd make a good housemate.
Wow. God damn.
God. Hit the
I'm
button
sa-
again.
I'm saying what was in your head.
The thoughts and comments of Jesse Young do not reflect the Made to
That's right,
Motivate
Jesse Young.
podcast in any way.
Oh,
Jesus.
man.
Jeez, my bad.
Anyway.
Josh,
Derailed.
Yeah, so I didn't really do much, honestly. I watched a lot of
Did you burn any
shows.
crosses while you were at home alone?
I think I might have. I let some like black spirits out.
What'd you watch?
I watched the we can talk about Hollywood
Say
Report. I
Black
watched a lot of
Ice.
movies. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Dude, it sucks playing with people you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping I was gonna play with Jesse there, and I got on for one game, and then he had to go make some mac and cheese or something, so I didn't really play for long.
That's what they're calling it. Great.
Otherwise, nothing too exciting. Just thankful to be back doing the show on a normal basis. So,
Yeah.
where do you guys want to start? Anything in particular you guys want to excited about? I know Jesse doesn't want to do
Just
sports.
get
You
it
wanna
done.
get done and over
Let's just
with?
get it
Yeah.
done.
All right, let's start with locker room talk.
Swung and lined to deep left field. It is gone! 45-40. Run, William, run! 20, 15.
I love seeing Jesse just wallowing in his sorrows over there.
This is locker room talk.
You remember last week, right? When he was like mimicking the
Oh,
sound
yeah.
bites and all that. Run, run, run. He was like doing all
like
this.
karaoke over
and all
there.
that. Now he's like barely even
He
moving.
can't even look at the camera.
Oh, what's that by your
We
head?
set you up
over
with a
there?
little special trophy over there too.
That shit's fucking ugly.
Locker room talk, sir. What do you want to get any venting to do? You want to get anything off your shoulders?
No, I think we got screwed
Yeah.
big time.
You did. Did you get clarification on them playing next week? Did
They'll
you-
play. None of them
players
actually
are
have
good,
COVID, which is why I think we got screwed.
Yeah.
So basically what happened was Jacob Phillips, he's a linebacker on our team. He has COVID. He was in the room with them doing like treatment, ice baths, hot tub, all that stuff. And they got close contact. None of them have COVID. None of our wide receivers. And despite this, the day before they are going to New York, literally as they are boarding the plane, they delay the flight and then they pull everybody off. They make them wait, go on the flight the next day, cancel the flight, and they tell every single one of our wide receivers that none of them can suit up to play.
Yeah.
The day before.
I blame it on Baker, honestly. I still think it's a cover
Suck
up.
a dick.
That dude in that post, I swear he was out partying and they covered it up. They're
It
like,
was
well, at
not.
least we'll let Baker play, but these guys got to be out.
It was not.
He's just the kind of guy that likes his house to look like a hotel.
Right. Exactly like one.
Anyway, so in a day, in 24 hours, we had to sign 2 of our wide receivers from the practice squad.
That's
we had
crazy,
to
dude.
get somebody off of waivers just so that we could put wide receivers on the field. And then the next day, Kevin Stefanski is running practice walkthroughs in the fucking parking garage to try to get them ready for this game, I guess. Only one of them showed up. That Bradley kid actually showed out. I hope that
Yeah.
they sign him, but the rest of them could get fucked.
Can you imagine the pressure, though? I mean, for them, even just like getting thrown into a game, your practice squad. It's not like your third string, second string. That's crazy. Now, jokes aside, and no like woe me's, but like, what do you find the difference in this than like a Ravens getting delayed? Like, why not delay this game? And that got pushed back 3-4 times.
So I looked into that because I was like, originally when all that happened and the Broncos were forced to play without their quarterbacks, that was the big question was, well, why the fuck did the Ravens get delayed and these guys have to play without their positions? And they said that it was because the Broncos were knowingly working against protocol. So I looked into it. Kevin Stefanski and all the players and everything, like, it's been reported that they did not break protocol. Like, what they did was not breaking protocol.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what the fuck?
Right.
And they put out a statement that basically said before this year started, they told every team that they would not make any changes or movements based on competitive advantage or disadvantage, only on whether or not they could contain the spread.
Oh.
So the Ravens, who had 27 players with COVID, got delayed and allowed to get back 17 of those players, even though they had COVID and broke protocol. Because you're not, they didn't.
Probably because they couldn't contain the spread. It was so widespread
Sure,
at that point. They
whatever.
couldn't.
But at that point, like, you have somebody who is not doing the right thing. You can't tell me they were following protocol and they had that big of an outbreak.
Right.
They weren't. So you've got guys who aren't doing the right thing, who lost half their team, who messed up the schedule for everybody else, you guys included, and they were able to put at least a better team than what they should have been able to put onto the field so that they could play. They got both of their running backs back, a couple of players on defense, but we do everything correct, and it just so happens that they're close to a guy. They tested them. They were negative. They were all negative and knew they were negative before the game because they were all on Twitter, like, pissed off, you know, tweeting at the NFL.
For sure.
But it could take up to 5 days to show symptoms.
And that's what the protocol is you have to sit and wait for 5 days. So they won't even practice until Thursday.
Right.
But it's just bullshit. I mean, what the fuck are we testing for if the test doesn't matter?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it does not seem like that everything was held accountable. Like, I understand we're not going to delay a game just because, all right, your main player's out and you might lose because of that. I get that. But to that point, like you said with the Ravens, they blatantly are not following the rules at that point. You don't get that many people sick. And then at this point, they've come back hungry.
and they're going to,
They've
they've got
come
the
back, like-
easiest end of the schedule of the year. I mean, can you imagine if you guys had yesterday going into that game, knowing that you had to beat the Colts in order to keep the division, you find out that Ben, Mason Rudolph, and James Conner and TJ Watt all get COVID. And then, or they don't even get COVID. They just
have to
come
be
into
out.
contact with somebody who has COVID, and they all had to sit out. I mean, if we get to the AFC Championship game and Patrick Mahomes is close to somebody who has COVID, are they going to really make them sit?
That was what we talked about before the start of the NFL season. So we said, like, the thing that's going to be tricky about this year is, and we used Mahomes exactly, is that, so he's the guy that, you know, all the ratings, all the everything that depends on the promo spots, everything. You're not going to just sit that guy. I find it hard to believe that they're going to just go, well, carry on.
I said that one of our earlier seasons. I said if they're going to cover it up. If you got your main dude out, they're going to find a way. The team's not going to disclose or something. They're going to figure a way out because you're not going to have that guy out of the game. You ain't going to have a Super Bowl with the Chiefs in it without Mahomes playing. You're not going to do it. They'll delay it. They'll figure something out.
And that's my thing is if it wasn't us, if it was because Browns are doing good this year, but nobody looks at them as a contender where everybody loves them. We've got good fans that drive pretty good ratings, but we're not the Cowboys or somebody who, like, you know, really pulls in a shitload of money for the league. And the Broncos aren't either. Haven't been good in forever. But the Ravens, you've got Lamar Jackson, the former MVP. He's on Madden. We're going to tweak the rules a little bit for them. They'd tweak the rules a little bit for the Chiefs. But because it's the Browns, we just got fucked.
Well, I think everybody.
Well, Jackson didn't play in that game against.
He didn't.
Steelers,
He
so,
didn't.
I mean,
but they gave them enough.
They gave him 2 weeks for that and the Cowboy game.
They should have dropped more games than they did because they won the next game after that game, didn't they?
Yeah, that was the Cowboys were after the Steelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they let them get healthy enough, and he came back for that game when he should have been out for 2.
Right.
I don't know. I'm pissed off about the entire thing.
And they stretched ours, so we were supposed to play them on a Sunday. We ended up playing them on a Wednesday. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then we had another game on the following Sunday. I'm like, well, good. We've got like 2 days to get ready for that
Well, it's
game.
like
Awesome.
Steelers had 3 games in 12 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 3 games in 12 days, and we had 5 people out at one point. Like, we've suffered through it
Sure.
as well. Like, and because of the Ravens, though, to that point, like they got babied for some reason. And it's not like they're a Super Bowl contender. They just won. Like, I don't understand why they got.
Could you imagine that? Well,
because Lamar's one of their poster.
They want Lamar to be successful.
Yeah.
He's
On
got
the cover,
2 first-round exits. They don't like the way that looks. They want him to be successful, and they're going to do what they can to make him successful. I mean, the Browns game, regardless, they should have won that game. I put it on. This is the first loss this year that was entirely on Stefanski. This was the first.
Yeah,
You think
I'd have
so?
to. Yeah, I do agree because there's one point that I wanted to make about that game that I couldn't understand looking at the statistics. They gave up on the run very fast. And I don't just mean with Chubb. They basically abandoned Hunt. And this is from a guy who was playing him in fantasy football, like playing against
If he didn't
him.
get that touchdown, we'd have been screwed.
Yeah, it was so like until that touchdown though, he was like -2 yards and like I think 2 carries, something like that. I'm like, the guy's a machine. If Chubb's not working, give it to Hunt.
Yeah,
Which is weird when you know you don't have a passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not focused? Why didn't you focus more on
And
that?
aside from the receivers being gone, we were missing our left tackle. Jedrick Wills didn't have COVID, but he did have an illness that kept him out of the game. And then Wyatt Teller is out because of an injury. So, those are our first and our third best linemen, one of which is your left tackle.
Agreed. Yeah.
So, I think that they went into it the entire week looking at it as the Jets suck. We're going to pass on them. We're going to get up on them, and then we're going to, coast at the end. And instead of adjusting once they lost them, they just said, well, we're just going to make it work. Baker threw 53 times in that game. There were 19 rushes, and 3 of them were Baker's.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that.
It was awful.
Even if they know it's coming, like make them stop Chubb. Make them find the difficult task of stopping that man and let them prove it.
That offense, that's what you do, that run offense, and then it opens up the pass.
Yeah.
Regardless of what receivers you're throwing to.
And, and that's what we've
you
done
abandoned
all
it
year.
Early. That's gonna screw you at the end of the game.
Yeah, you save those passes for those special plays where it's like they won't see it coming. They'll think we're going to Chubb on this one, then you dink it down the field. Yeah.
We always started off that way. Baker has one of the highest passer ratings in the entire NFL. It's like I think he's top 3 when he's on play action or a bootleg. You can't run play action without running the ball. That's the whole purpose of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So Stefanski went in and he said, there's no excuses. We got to be better, blah, blah, blah. We're going to make sure that this COVID stuff never happens again. But that loss was entirely on him. Baker had nobody to throw to. He still threw for 285. The fumbles were bad, but other than...
I was going to ask you about the fumble rule.
Fumble rules piss me off.
Yeah.
Other than that fumble, I don't think that they were really on him, though, because the other ones were... guys not getting open downfield, people coming up from behind him. Yeah. You got to have a timing sense in order to throw it away and everything, but you also are down big and you're trying to make a play, so I don't put those on him necessarily.
Is Stefanski doing the offensive play calling like Kitchens was?
I believe that he is, yes.
Because then, I would put it on him, because if you don't adjust your team's play calling to be more running, then...
Yeah, I do think they go off and on
him.
between him and the offensive coordinator, but if it's like a... He has the final say on everything.
I was just about to say he's the head coach, so the buck stops with him. Like ultimately,
well, I just know, like we talked last year with how Kitchens could have probably been better off if he would have gave over some of the reins, if he would have allowed someone else. He came off as being the offensive coordinator and coaching, so he didn't want to give that up
too much.
If he would have given some of that away, he might have not have ended up the way he did. Stefanski is a far superior coach.
Oh yeah,
I think we already know that. But I wasn't sure. I knew he was doing some play calling because I've heard them during the game saying that, but I wasn't sure at this point if he's still fully calling them all.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you can't put the blame on anybody else. I mean, you're out. The amount of players that you're out. Winning that game with the situation that they were in was going to be tough. I didn't have expectations that they were going to win.
I still felt they would.
I did too. But I didn't expect for them to throw the ball 53 times either.
That's the thing. If they would have adjusted appropriately and they would have focused more on their run game, then they probably should have won that game.
Well, the biggest thing is like the Jets are a decent run defense. They're like 14th or 15th or something in the league. But they're missing their best defensive player, who happens to be a defensive tackle. His name escapes me at the moment, but he was out. We knew that going into it. Why are you not running the ball 50 times? 25 for Hunt, 25 for Chubb. And then you get some play action stuff here and there. Maybe you get somebody who blows past them on the break or something, but, whatever.
Yeah. They didn't score a lot, but they even allowed a decent amount. I mean,
Our defense has been terrible all year.
yeah, which is crazy because they're set up decent.
Yeah.
You got to think we're averaging 27 points a game, and that's with the 2 shutouts against the Ravens and the Steelers that were awful at the beginning of the year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, most games we're scoring 30, 40
Yeah.
points. You have to score that much with this defense. The defense is going to
Yeah.
be the one thing that they completely overhaul in the offseason.
I just figured with it being the Jets, the defense would have had a better chance of holding off some runs. I mean, I didn't expect the Browns to score a ton, but also didn't expect the Jets to score as much as they did.
I expected about that score just in the Browns' favor. I thought about like that
Swap
20-16, something like that. I thought it was going to be a hard-fought victory for the Browns, but I thought the Browns would definitely win it.
Yeah.
2 problems with the game, one of which we got completely screwed on. Sam Darnold, they called an incomplete pass when he clearly fumbled the ball and pushed it forward, in which case
Yeah.
Ward was just streaking for the end zone. Should have been a defensive touchdown.
Yep.
I don't know how you can call that an incomplete pass when the ball is squeezed from his hand as he's
Yeah.
there. And I know that as soon as your hand goes forward, you're good, but I have seen things way closer than that
Yeah.
get called as a fumble before.
They didn't
nobody
challenge
touched
that one,
Ward.
did they?
You cannot.
You can't challenge that, I don't
They
think.
reviewed it.
They reviewed
Yeah.
it themselves,
Yeah.
and
I thought that was BS also.
yeah, that was bullshit. Second thing, which I thought was bullshit at the time, Chris, you asked about this earlier, was Baker's fumble.
Yeah.
So under 2 minutes, it's 4th and 1. They go to QB sneak it for the 3rd time in the game. It's worked 2 other times, whatever. They go for it one more time. Guy pops the ball out. Ball goes backwards directly into Kareem Hunt's hands, and Hunt dives forward for
Yeah.
the first down. The rule used to be that you, within 2 minutes, could not fumble forward and be advanced by another player. And that was the whole idea of that rule, is so that as you're going, if you're losing the game, you don't get tripped up and go, oh, and fumble it forward 10 yards and a guy can run up and get it. It's to
Right.
keep you from cheating that
It's virtually
system.
a pass, virtually.
Right.
Yeah.
That's only if you're under the 2-minute rule?
Only if you're under the 2-minute rule.
Got it, okay.
The rule is now that you can, it's the exact same rule except for instead of fumbling forward, it is fumbling in general. So because that fumble happened, Baker would have been the only one who could get the ball and advance it.
Gotcha.
My problem with that is, one, that rule is designed for the intention of cheating.
Yeah.
It was clear that this was not a purposeful fumble.
Was this created for Tom Brady?
No, it was not actually. That's a separate rule.
Or Rodgers.
No, but then the second thing was the ball never touched the ground.
Yeah.
It was popped out directly into Hunt's hands. In my eyes, you could consider that a lateral.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's
And I look at all these other plays, you get into those 4 seconds left and they kick the ball off and you're down by 6. Those guys start throwing the ball all over the place. If I throw the ball behind me to a player and it hits the ground, they
Right.
pick it up and advance that shit all the time.
Yep.
So that is technically a fumble. Why does that not get called? So I don't know. I don't know if we would have won that game if we make that 4th down or not. Maybe
Yeah.
we don't, but
Yeah,
it
more of a
just
chance.
it just seemed like fucking bullshit to me.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's the issue with any major sports, is the inconsistency in the calling or the refs calling. One game it's an issue for one team and it's not for the other. I feel like we fight that all the time with any game. We're always like, well, thank the refs for winning you that game or whatever. I don't know how do you make that a better situation? How do they streamline the play calling to be more consistent?
Yeah.
So that you're not running into those type of situations. But
Well,
it's like you
you
can't do a review of every play. It's just
Yeah.
too many.
It's just like the catch rule that we talk about, you
Right.
and I talk about all the time.
Yep.
And it's like, they realized they had a huge hiccup in there when that play was first designed. And it was because of Des Bryant, the reason they changed it.
Yeah.
It was a huge hiccup, a huge flaw in the system. They changed it. And now it's the catch rule is what you see every Sunday.
Right. Everybody knew that he caught it, but
Yeah.
by definition of the rule, at the time, he technically didn't. My biggest problem with that game is the fucking defensive touchdown that was taken from us, because for whatever reason, that always seems to go against the Browns. A couple years ago, Myles Garrett strip sacked Derek Carr, took the ball, was running down the field, and they called it as an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
Some other Ravens game, it was a similar situation where we had either intercepted or fumbled or something like that, and they called it an incompletion. Like, it's the third time that I've seen it in the recent years.
Yeah.
Just swallow your fucking whistle and let the
Right.
play happen, and then review it. And if it's incomplete, it's incomplete.
Yeah.
Take the points off the board. But you can't just
Let it-
call it dead,
Let it play out.
and then it's like, oh, it's so close, we're not really sure. Like,
Was that the one where they didn't call it until like he was already almost in the end zone and then they
Yeah.
blew their whistle?
Or,
Like,
and he wasn't touched.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was like
It's just
2 yards
bullshit.
from the end zone, and they blew the whistle.
Yeah. It's like you let him run it out that long, and then all of a sudden you called it. Like, let him finish the play,
right.
make the touchdown, and then, like you said, go back, review it at that point. But,
Right.
like,
If you
it was
go
a
back in his
weird-
hands going forward, fine.
Okay, right.
But it fucking wasn't,
I
man.
know. That was whack.
And the thing that's stupid is, even if they did say that it was a fumble, we don't even get those yardage or that yardage.
Right.
We would get it at the point of, where he picked it up, which would be 30 yards back,
Yeah.
and you still got screwed out of a touchdown.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess
tough.
I guess if I'm looking for the silver lining in all of this, all the bullshit that Jesse just described, it's that so they're going to play the Steelers next week. The Steelers have nothing to compete for at this point. So basically, I don't see any one of their starters going in there for maybe a play or something here and there. I don't see why you would start Ben. I don't see why you'd even risk that with their, bigger stars.
Depends on how much you care about that rivalry. Do you want to knock the Browns out? Do you want to be after this
Is
season?
it a rivalry, though?
Do you? Yeah, I think. Do you really want to? Do you want to just let them? Do you want to? I mean, I'm with you. I think they should sit them.
Yeah.
But as a
It's not
coach,
worth
are
it.
you going to allow them to just take a seat and let the Browns in?
Well,
I would rather if the Browns win though, do the Ravens still get in? Can the Ravens still get
The
in?
Ravens, I believe, are in unless they lose.
Okay, because I was gonna say like
The only
I'd
team that
rather
we
have the
keep out
Browns
is
in
the
than the
Colts.
Ravens. So
And look, let's let the Browns play their best players or whatever. Let them earn their win, and then next week, if we play them again, we'll bring our guys out there
Yeah.
fresh and ready to go.
I'm telling you, I say sit the Steelers starters.
I
They
agree.
haven't had a bye week since week 4.
Mhm.
Get those starters the rest.
yeah,
I don't care if we throw that last game.
yeah.
You
It
made a
just-
good point because that bye week was taken from them.
It
That was
was.
not their initial
Nope.
bye week.
I think week 8 or 9 was
Yeah.
their original bye week,
Mhm.
and it was taken because
The
of-
Ravens.
Yeah.
No, I
COVID.
agree. I mean, we're going to be ranked third seed
You're
regardless,
locked in at
no
the
matter
top.
what, if we win
Tennessee.
or not. So sit them, don't risk it. Ben needs the rest, man. At this point,
Yeah.
Oh.
so
Jesse, how close were Browns fans watching that Steelers game?
Oh, we were watching it tight. And there were people all on different boards because,
yeah,
most people wanted you guys to win, actually, because if we would have won our Jets game and you beat the Colts, we were in no matter what.
yep.
I did not want you to beat the Colts for 2 reasons. One was I wanted to play for the division this upcoming week.
Right.
But on top of that, every other team won how they were supposed to win in order to keep the Ravens out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
And had we won that game and you guys would have beaten the Colts, going into next week, all of the stuff was lined up to where the Bills were the only worry. If they beat the Dolphins would have been kicked out, but they had locked up the 2 seed. They probably would have benched their starters. Dolphins win that game. Ravens miss the playoffs. We have a chance to take the division. Everything works out perfectly. Obviously, that didn't happen.
obviously.
5 minutes later.
But yeah, so
No, I was watching both games. I mean, I was able to stream the Steelers game.
Yeah.
Um,
we had it going in our house.
and it was aggravating. I'm watching one, getting pissed off, and I'm looking over at the other TV, and getting pissed off. I'm like, God, like I couldn't take it. I was pulling my hair out, extremely stressed.
Yeah.
Watching both those games.
Dude, I was like
Worst team ever.
Dude, I
I
still
was-
stand by that comment. You cannot change my mind that the way they came out and played that first half, the way they've came out to play and played the last 4 games, ugliest football
Hold on.
ever.
But in Steelers fashion, they found a way. They won. I feel like that happens with them a lot. Like, look, the game was ugly. I ain't going
'cause
to
they did
argue
what-
that. But I feel like they somehow, and I credit to Tomlin a lot of time, they find a way to win, man. Somehow they pull it off. We should not have been undefeated this season.
Yeah.
We should not have been undefeated. There's
Wait.
no reason.
You're not anymore.
Two
fuck
two
off.
words, 5 syllables. Jacksonville Jaguars.
We
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Awful fucking team.
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody's worse than them, but I didn't get a chance to really watch it. I watched a couple things and checked on scores as we were going. Did you guys turn it on and find something in that second half, or was it a Colts collapse? Like, what exactly? Because you guys were getting your asses kicked. It was 24-7 at one point.
They started throwing the ball downfield.
So Ben just hasn't been able to do that lately.
Right. He sat in the pocket and
Yeah.
wasn't scared as
Yeah.
he has. Like, you could tell, like, he didn't want to get hit the last couple games.
Yeah.
Something, he had to have been hurt.
I've been saying that. I've been saying that for the last couple weeks. He's been hurt for the last probably month. Last 4 games or so, he's been hurt. But yeah, to your point, Dan, I don't know if he was frustrated or Tomlin got on him and said, "Look, you're our fucking quarterback. Step it up."
Right.
But he did come back after that second half and was in the pocket. He wasn't rushing it. He was there more to take the hits if they were coming. Like, he was throwing it down.
He's throwing it downfield.
And they haven't been doing that. He hasn't been throwing past 10 yards.
No, he's got one of the lowest
It's
completion
awful.
percentages downfield in the entire league.
So
it's like 32%. I don't know after this last game, but
like,
Yeah.
opening up those games and just those 3-4 yard quick slant passes to get the ball out of his hand because he's scared he's going to get hit.
Yeah.
Like, teams eat that up, and your rushing game isn't that good.
Yeah.
it's
So,
awful. That is one thing you
so
guys.
all these teams are packing that line
Yep.
and taking advantage. Like, he was throwing it into triple coverages. He was making some very, very bad decisions.
Yeah. He had a couple bad passes this week and last week. There was a couple last week where he had someone wide open and threw it into full-on coverage.
And watching the previous couple games, him in the post-game interviews, getting asked these questions, he was, like, down, 2-word responses.
I remember last week's.
It's just like it didn't seem like he cared.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't saying, well, I got to get in there, I got to play better, I got to do this, I got to play my game the way I know I've done it in the last 12 years, 15
He
years.
did say that, though, I think last week or the week before.
Last week he made a comment about.
It was like a week
said,
or
"I
two
suck."
ago where he said, like, my time's coming. If I can't play
Yep.
better, if I can't play at the level I need
That
to be
was
playing, then
2
like
weeks ago.
I got to put in the towel. Or,
Last week they asked him, though, they said, you're coming off of this major surgery that we've never seen on a quarterback before. What does your arm feel like? Are you tired?
He said no.
And he very well could have said, like, no, this is on me, like you're saying, like, blah, blah, blah. He said, yes, I'm tired, but so is everybody else at this point in the year. And that's kind of,
Political,
whatever. It's a
yeah.
political answer, but it's not saying that his arm is not in a
Right.
spot that he doesn't want it to be.
But also,
I think it's his
you try
knee
and come
that's the
off as-
problem.
That's what I said. That was what I've been saying is his knee. But I also think as a quarterback, you got to come off as the leader too, like Baker, which I think Baker does a very good job of.
Yeah.
Like he takes
He put that on
ownership-
himself yesterday.
He takes ownership over. He'll say, like I need to be playing better, whatever. And Ben could make excuses, but I don't think he is. Like we know he's injured.
He's not making excuses. I didn't think that, but he also wasn't. He wasn't downplaying the idea that something was wrong.
That was a Roethlisberger throw.
Twix. 2 for me, 1 for the floor. You want one?
No, I'm good.
They left the rule. It's now 10 seconds.
No, but
Ryan's COVID sleep.
the knee would make sense though because
He got-
you need that back plant foot in order to drive that ball, and it's not there.
And people are coming at him. They're diving low. He doesn't want to get hit, so
Right.
he's trying to get rid of the ball fast.
Yeah,
I mean, what was it? Average of like 1.3 seconds from snap to throw.
something like that, and he's only averaging like 5.9 yards an attempt or something like that.
So both sides of the coin here. What's your guys' confidence heading into the playoffs? If you go, and you're obviously going, what's your confidence meter right now out of 100?
We're obviously going. That sounds
Well,
nice.
you won the division. It's
Oh,
Yeah, we're there.
We won the division too.
Mhm.
Won the division and guaranteed a spot in the playoff. How are you guys doing over there?
That's how that works, dumbass.
How you guys doing?
We're doing just fine because we're going to be making it next week.
We'll see what happens.
No, I think we're going to win that game because of all of that stuff. I think that you guys are going to rest your guys. Any other year, I think you try to fuck us, but this year, I think they're just going to be like, screw it, we don't really care.
Yeah,
We're just happy that we're in here in the position that we're in because stuff was falling apart.
Yeah.
You're locked in at the 3 seed. If we make it, we're going to be facing the Bills in the 2 seed.
It's gonna be a tough game.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a tough first
It just
game.
depends on which Josh Allen you get because lately he's been on fire, but history has shown Josh Allen can disappear like that.
Mm.
I think we can score with them if all of our players are back. Their defense is way better than ours, though, so our offense is going to have to be on point. I would say, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 feeling like we're going to win it and go to the Super Bowl. One being we're absolutely going to be blown out in the first round. I would say against the Bills in the first round, I have like a 4 confidence. I think that they're a really good team. I think that they can rival the Chiefs this year.
Bills are going to be really tough. Do you know who we play first round?
It's looking like maybe it was possibly Cleveland before this week, but
Yeah, but that's not so I don't know if now if
You
it's been
guys are going to
definitive
either
or not.
face
Titans or the Colts.
You're going to face the Titans, Colts, whoever comes out of that division, or the Ravens. I don't know how their tiebreakers work out.
What am I playing the Colts again? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Titans are scary.
What do you think? I don't want to play Titans. What do you think? I know Dan doesn't have high hopes for the Steelers.
I
So just
don't.
Go back to me. Dan's opinion doesn't
I'm
matter. He's not a
seriously-
Steelers fan today.
If you,
You're disappointing me.
if you
over
play-
there.
I'm watching the games
one,
though.
The one day I've got someone with me that's actually got my back, and Dan comes and shits
Yeah,
the bed.
If they don't freaking do these dink and dunk passes and they come out playing like they did in that second half of the Colts game.
You sound
If
like
they-
the Browns fans, though. How can you hate it? This is a team that just won the division. As awful as they played or not, Ben is injured.
You guys
They
are
still have
so
won.
bad, though.
Have
They
you
have-
watched the last 4
Hey,
games?
All I know is that
Even
we're-
that game that they
won the
beat
division,
Baltimore.
and we've solidified the playoffs, and we shouldn't have been that good this year.
Even your
And I'm
defense hasn't
happy.
been good, though. That was the thing that kept you alive early on. You
Right.
losing those 2 linebackers
Exactly.
has hurt.
Yeah.
I don't
Losing
think-
Dupree was, I mean,
It's incredibly hard to
great
beat.
edge
I
rusher.
must
Now
be
your whole
fucking-
defense.
I must be like.
Dude, you got to
clinically
watch
insane.
the games.
It is
though.
incredibly hard to beat a team 2 times in a year, much less close together like Indianapolis. If you face them, they're not going to let up in the second half like they did. They're going to come prepared for that. I think the Titans are just going to run down your throat. I don't think that you'll be able to keep
Unless
up
it's
with
the
them.
deal.
Unless it's snowing,
They're
apparently.
not the best team in the NFL.
And the Ravens, I think, are
but-
electric enough and hot enough that one might be a little different because of the rivalry and people just show up differently.
Mhm.
But all 3 of those teams are dangerous.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean-
not going to be an easy first round for us by any means. Like I would like it to be Colts, Ravens, Titans in that order if who we had to face.
I would too.
I want
Here's-
Titans to be our last
I would too.
option for sure.
Here's the deciding factor. Who's playing this Sunday? If they are going to put some
yeah.
starters in there, if they don't rest them,
Yeah.
first round out easily.
Yeah.
If they rest their people, have good practices, come out firing that ball down the field
Yeah.
in the playoff game, they got a better chance to win. They have to come out strong that first half. They can't get behind 17 points and hope to bring on that magic in the second half. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not in the playoffs.
I'm giving us a 7.
So
I'll make it
I'm
to the
probably
second
like
round.
a 4 or 5.
Yeah. I'm going 7. I got hopes.
and the team, if I was a Steeler fan, the team I would not want to play is the Ravens
Yeah.
because they are the team that knows you the best.
I don't think anybody wants to play the Ravens right now. As
They-
much as
They came back ready to play, man.
their
I
defense is
don't-
elite, and as much as I say Lamar is a choker and everything else, and I still think that he is, none of the teams that they're going to face in that first round can score with them.
Yeah.
So they're going to at least win in the first round. I don't think they beat the Bills or they beat the Chiefs, but
yeah, not happening.
they, I think they can beat
No.
anybody else on the docket.
Yeah.
It's the Mahomes league.
Yeah.
They
We still saying Chiefs, Seattle.
That was
Chiefs,
mine.
Saints.
That was my before the season started.
yeah.
pick.
Chiefs,
I'm
Seattle is
sticking
who
with
I
it.
have too, but
I don't know, man. I might change up to Green Bay. I don't
Yeah,
know
we
if
talked
they're
about that last
It's
week.
gonna be tough to win in Lambeau.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
I said I would not be shocked just because they always seem to go deep. Saints the same, but Breeze is so beat up still. It's just not looking like it's going to turn out. But Green Bay looks legit.
Yeah. Do you have a prediction, Dan? You weren't on when we made our Super Bowl
No.
predictions.
I don't have a prediction.
Chiefs.
I think Chiefs are going to win it all again.
I do
Yeah,
too. I don't
that's
think
where I think
anybody
we're
can
all
beat
at.
them.
They're exciting to watch that team.
Yeah, I love
Like-
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chiefs. I don't care who comes out of the NFC.
This is my
Chiefs are
team
gonna
for
beat
life,
him.
but Mahomes is awesome to watch.
Yeah.
I think that the AFC wins no matter who comes out. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
trust
NFC
any of those
Right.
NFC
trash.
teams right now.
Yeah. NFC doesn't have anything right now worth. It's just like the NBA East.
Green
They're
Bay
not
is, but
gonna-
they always seem to choke late. So I don't know if they
Yeah.
even make it out. But yeah, they're not. They're
Yeah.
not good.
I mean, when you get in too deep, sometimes you choke. It happens.
does.
So
Oh, so
any more Brown Steelers talk, playoff talk? I pulled up a link of the top sports moments of the year. I was going to read through.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Let's hit them up.
what's that courtesy of?
This is from Apple News.
Okay.
Not a sponsor.
See if my pick gets taken.
You can definitely be a sponsor if you'd like to, by all means. I would love Apple to be a sponsor.
Are these plays or just like moments?
No, it's just moments of the year.
Okay.
So we've got
I can tell
Timeout.
what mine is.
I'll read the titles in a brief description. So this one's called Timeout. In a dizzying 24 hours back in March, Dr. Fauci testified before Congress. The NBA star tested positive. It's the day the NBA shut down. So one of the biggest moments of the year was
okay.
the day the NBA
I was going to say bubble.
stopped, or the day sports stopped.
I gotcha. Okay, so these are just
Big
sports
moments.
related, not
Yes.
necessarily even a game.
Racial justice, and that was about how the WNBA created the blueprint for sports activism.
Yep.
We've got Quarantimes. It says you really just had to accept the fact that, man, I'm going to see these four walls every day about the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my pick.
Trailblazer, women making college football history,
Yeah.
about Sarah Fuller.
Yeah.
Buzzkill, baseball's biggest COVID-19 controversy, Justin Turner's positive test, and him running out on the field when they won or whatever.
Yeah.
A bit outside, there's a quote, and it's, I thought, oh, baby, I better put a lot different oomph into it, and I did, and you saw what happened when Dr. Fauci tossed out the first pitch.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
You know what that is? That's one of those PR posts
Are
that they
these-
make.
Are these greatest or just most impactful?
It just said biggest moments of 2020 sports, or maybe impactful. I don't. The
That was-
titling is
It's the
just.
same game he wasn't wearing a mask.
It just says a surreal sports year. The year 2020 delivered unforgettable stories on and off the field.
Didn't Kobe pass in 2020?
I haven't got
Yeah.
there yet,
And-
bro.
and that-
Oh, well, I'm
and-
surprised it's so fucking low.
But that was my other
I don't know
one.
what kind of order they're
Unless
in.
he's going
Still
in
not.
ascending order.
That's my biggest.
I just
impact.
started at the top. Race in America. Hundreds of teams are still using Native American symbols as mascots. His
Whatever.
airness returns. Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah.
Last Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
The
Value
people's
shoes.
the people's
Value in
champ.
articles.
This one says, "Well, what was the message that you got? I feel like the point is to make people start talking." Naomi Osaka cemented her status as a leader on and off the court with the U.S. Open
Tennis.
title. Offensive line to front lines. Why I opted out. Laurent Tardif. He was an NFL player who also had a doctorate, and he retired from the Chiefs to go and play doctor during COVID.
Oh, I do remember that story.
He won the Super Bowl last year, and then he remembering Mamba.
Great year to be a doctor.
Those so they were in reverse order, like because
Yeah,
Mamba
biggest
because
moment.
Kobe was the
Yeah,
last one.
It's gotta
so,
be.
Yeah, so those were just something I found on there I thought was interesting.
Yeah, Kobe would be my one, and then I was going to say the bubble was my two.
Yeah, Kobe for sure. I mean, everything else was like minimal compared to that.
Nothing impacted me in sports
than
like
Kobe.
that did.
Nothing
There was
that's
stuff
ever
that I
impacted me in sports
noticed,
like that.
but like, yeah, Kobe was.
Awful.
I still think of Kobe.
Dude, I
Like,
get chills.
Yeah.
The name, just his name, man.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
That date's
crazy
coming
what
up.
happened.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're what couple weeks away. I don't
Yeah.
remember what the
It was
date
right after my
was.
birthday.
Yeah, we're not far off.
God,
Which
so
is
it's been that long
crazy.
since I've been at the gym.
Still,
shit,
still
right?
my favorite episode of this show.
Yeah, dude, that was an impactful episode. That's a moment that it's gonna live on for a very long time. That was just awful, an awful day. Mr. Locker Room Talk. Anything else? Anything else go on in sports? I mean, mainly the football's the big thing, obviously.
Basketball
right now.
started back up. Cavs look legit. Warriors look terrible. I love it. What? Your Cowboys? What?
Never know if we need to
Being
talk.
in second place, possibly getting to the playoffs?
Yeah, I never think about talking about the Cowboys because Chris is always so down about them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Now you have faith?
they
Now
turned
you're a
ar-
man of faith?
No, here's the thing.
no, they turned around.
They
though.
already fucked our draft pick. So at this point, we might as well win the division. Like, what's the point of just having a mediocre season?
Who do you play last, and who does Washington
best
play
part-
last?
We
Because
play
you
the
need to
Giants.
win.
They play Philly. We need Philly to win.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best part of being in the worst division. You got
Yeah.
a better chance at the playoffs.
I know.
Wow.
And we win 7 games and we're in.
Yeah.
I think it was either the Jets.
How
it
do
was
you
a-
feel 1 to 10 on your playoff prediction? Are you going to pull the Seattle Seahawks 7-9,
So-
upset the teams?
The thing is, we host a playoff game. Like, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that would be insane by itself. But we're probably going to play Tampa, more than likely. And we've never beaten Tom Brady during Tom Brady's era.
Yeah.
You ain't
Never
gonna beat him
happened.
this year either.
Ain't
He's
gonna
on
happen.
fire.
So my chance on 1 to 10, a 2.
At least you're honest with yourself.
Yes.
No beast mode run from Zeke to create an earthquake in
no.
Dallas.
Pollard's a better runner, to be honest.
I think it was somebody from the Jets, because they were talking about, winning these games is messing up your draft abilities, and they were saying, we don't care about that next year. We're worried about winning games right now. And I thought that was, it's important, though. Because you can go out and throw it and not care.
It's the right mentality, but
Yeah.
they know they're not winning the Super Bowl, so what are you doing?
Yeah.
But, do you just throw it away? Do you throw away the games with the Browns just and say, fuck it? I don't know.
We actually have a chance to. We could upset a team in the playoffs, though. And we've not been there in so long, which I guess the Cowboys. You guys have been to the playoffs recently. You just haven't.
3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I feel like it's just like you got to play every game your hardest until your season ends, regardless of what that means. Like, I get the whole aspect of wanting to better yourself next year, but I think you're kind of slapping yourself in the face. Like, let's throw it because we suck. We want to.
They're gonna make money regardless, though. Dallas always is the most valuable franchise in sports, typically.
Yeah.
But like, you just.
So
you
what
are,
do
you
do,
are considered
though?
a great.
Just sit everybody and just play and
No, but you just. I wouldn't be trying hard for a playoff win. I'm trying to fix this team. You got a quarterback.
Yeah.
You got a running back. He didn't have a good year this year, but history shows that Zeke is still a good guy until he shows you that he can't.
He's going to the Jets.
But what does throwing a game look like without crossing a boundary? Because that's illegal. You can't just throw a game. So
Sure you can.
I don't think you technically are allowed to just
The Jacksonville
throw a game.
Jaguars threw a game this week just so they could keep their first pick. You can say James Robinson's injured with a knee injury.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Reports say
Do you
James
just-
Robinson tells coach he's ready to go. Nope, he's got a knee injury.
Yeah.
Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Well, that's what I was saying. What do you do? Just say, hey, we're just going to sit our first stringers all this week.
Andy
Just-
Dalton's got a sore elbow, and he's going to sit.
I gotcha.
They're all injured to some point. You just
Yeah.
have to say whether or not they play.
And that's another thing that scares me about Dallas if they keep winning all this is that Jerry's going to get that mentality in his head that he goes, well, we've got Dalton who's 4-0 since, this whole thing, since he came back. Maybe we don't need Dak. Maybe we don't need to pay this guy $40 million and all that. Now, you shudder. He's that stupid to do that.
I think that he would, but what a fucking idiot if he does.
Did you guys hear that J.J. Watt conference? Like,
I didn't hear, but I heard he
Oh,
flipped out.
yeah,
and
yeah,
said
yeah.
his team was
Yeah.
what Ryan's talking about with like,
Lost it.
how do you get to throw a game? Like J.J. Watt called out his
entire defense.
Show
entire
up.
defense. Like, we're getting paid handsomely.
Yep.
And you guys come out and put on a performance like that. Like, we still have fans coming up to us while we're out and about saying we're still rooting for you. We're still rooting for you. And you guys play like shit. Like no censorship, no not. He just let it out. And
That's what I'm saying, though. You should play you should play every game the hardest you can within reason to there being an extent of an actual injury. Okay, like the Steelers deciding next week to sit their first stringers because they're in the playoffs and they want to progress themselves. Sure, but I don't see. I don't know. I don't get that. Just play your
14.
hardest and try and better yourself for the next year.
Yeah.
But I just don't get throwing a game because you have hopes of getting a draft pick. You don't know what the draft's going to bring. You don't know what's going to happen.
Trevor Lawrence could be a
Trevor
bust,
Lawrence.
but
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
Those
I'm not
locks,
likely.
man.
Jags
They're
are my second
flowing hair.
favorite, so I'm hoping he goes there and kicks ass.
I hope we get a quarterback next
We
year.
need a Heisman winner on our team.
We need somebody. I don't know who we're gonna get, but we need a backup. Ben's time is obviously here. It's been here, and we need to find. We should have had somebody on here we were already grooming.
Yeah.
Guys
We're
are
Rudolph is not
You've
it.
tried for years though. You tried with Mason. You tried with Josh Dobbs. You tried with who was before him. I don't even know. But you guys have tried 3 or 4
Charlie
times,
Bates.
and it just hasn't
We've
turned
had him
out.
for what, 17 years? I mean, come on, it's time.
He's coming back for 18.
Tommy Maddox.
I'll take him as long as we need him, but we need somebody lined up to take his spot when he's done.
You guys are in some cap space
I know.
issues. All those years of restructuring and pushing off and boom, boom, boom. He's got like have you seen his cap hit next year?
No.
It's
Yeah, he's-
it's
yeah.
insane. It's like $40-50 million. Like, it's insane. You can't restructure it. Like, you just gotta bite it and.
Yeah.
All right, TJ, you're the defense.
Right. Honestly, yeah.
I don't know. That's all I got for sports, though.
Alrighty. Preference on where we go next? Want to do Hollywood?
Yeah, I can get mine done.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Stay calm down. No.
News team, assemble!
So you remember when we were like super amateur at the show? Not that we're like professional. Or
Yeah, last
now,
week.
But you remember when we were super amateur at the show and we were always so concerned about coming up with some kind of like catchy segue into the next segment? Now we're just like, hey, what do you want to talk about? What's
Let's
next?
just fucking do it.
Do we fucking have to?
It's so much less stressful now. We're just like, hey, you want to talk about next?
We need a segue.
And the
for
listens haven't
everything.
changed, so there you go.
Christopher?
So Hollywood Report this week, wanted to talk about 2 movies that are coming out. Neither of them won the weekend for me personally, but we're going to talk about those because that's what the kiddies are going to like. So anyway, the 2 movies, first of all, Wonder Woman 1984. Did you guys get to check this one out?
I've seen both of the movies we're going to talk about for the first time in forever.
Okay.
So.
I haven't seen Wonder Woman yet.
Okay.
I have not seen Wonder Woman because I want to see it in theater, even after your awful review. Not that your review is awful, but you reviewing
Jesus Christ.
but you giving it an awful score that I was disappointed in.
Who wrote this swill?
I would really like to see it in theater, so I have not watched it yet. I have the other one that you're going to mention, though.
That's the stand that I took. I said, I'm like, look, I got a copy sent to me the night before on Christmas Eve, and I said, I'm still going to go to the theater. Like, it feels
You
right
have
for me.
to.
Yeah, and I feel like if I don't, I'm being hypocritical when it comes to save the theater and all this other, stuff I talk. But Wonder Woman 1984, my opinions on it, and I'll turn it over to Jesse here in a second. I did not hate this movie. Now, this movie is getting vitriol bad from the, comic book community, from all kind of movie-going community. I don't see it as being that bad. For me, honestly, I thought it was just a overstuffed plot. I thought there were probably enough for 2 movies worth of ideas in this film, and that's the biggest problem that it has. I was never bored by this movie. I thought the performance of Godot was probably the best she's ever given emotionally. I thought that there was one really good action sequence that I would put up there just as much as the No Man's Land scene from the first movie. The rest of them are kind of rushed and a little sloppy on the editing. Overall, I gave it a 6 out of 10, and that's because I feel like, so it's got a great villain. Maxwell Lord is very well developed. He's gotten the comparison to a Donald Trump villain, which I can see those traits, but that doesn't bother me one way or another. I think the performance of Pedro Pascal, Mandalorian, does a great job at it. Another transformative performance for him. Yeah, Jesse, it was a 6 out of 10 for me. I gave it a C-. I liked it just enough to put it on that recommend shelf, but it's not something that I would say is certainly worth the theater price.
Yeah, I walked out of it thinking that it was better than the first one. I don't now when I go back to it. I think that both of the movies have the exact same problem and that they didn't end well. First one, I hated the ending.
Me too.
And this one, it just didn't.
That third act is sloppy of the first one.
It just has a quality. I can't say it because you guys haven't seen it, but like it has a quality that happens in superhero movies sometimes where they don't know what to do, and it ends up just being like solved on its own, and I don't like that.
Inconsequential.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was not like an epic, amazing battle where she overcame like this obstacle. She kind of got her ass kicked a little bit, and then it goes from there. So,
it's not a spoiler.
It's not.
She gets her ass kicked in every movie. Even the first movie, she got her ass kicked.
I did like. I'm wondering if the action sequence is the same one that I'm thinking. Is it the?
We can say that.
Is it the White House?
No, the desert.
Oh, okay.
So
Desert was good.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun, thrilling
Earmuffs,
set
yeah.
pieces.
Earmuffs.
You've seen the
These
trailer.
are in the trailers.
It's all
Both
over
of them
the
are.
trailer, and there's nothing I'm revealing that's spoiling or anything
It
like
doesn't
that.
bother me.
Was the expectation of the movie just that much
You hit on it.
higher?
You hit on it.
than
So
what
like
was delivered?
and we were waiting for so long, considering this movie was supposed to come out in summer. So I think that only adds to the negative aspects of this movie. It's that you're expecting Dr. Dre's The Chronic, 2020, and you had to wait another 8 more years on top of it.
Yeah. I think I wasn't super excited because I'm not a big fan of the DC movies. Wonder Woman is the best of them, but I'll take a Marvel movie anytime over them.
Yep.
But I think I was just so excited to be in the movie theater and hear the music and hear all the punching and everything else, and Gal Gadot's fucking sexy.
Yeah.
So
Especially 30 feet tall.
yeah, the whole thing, it was fun. It was a fun movie. I would not look back on it and be like, man, that's a good movie.
Did you give it a 6?
I gave it a 7.
Okay.
But I struggled with a 6.5. I settled on a 7.
So the thing that I found interesting, I haven't seen it yet, but from like just seeing reviews and stuff, is the first one was I got like a powerful review from them, like from people. You know, it was like the resurrection of DC, and DC finally did something right, and it's this fantastic female lead superhero movie. And then with this one, everyone's like, fuck DC, they fucking suck. Typical DC, they can't make a great movie, their storylines suck. And I was like, how could it have been that much worse than the first one to flip that bad?
Okay. So the general consensus that I get from other people, and I've asked them, this is the movie I'm most curious about for everybody's reaction. What I'm getting is that because it's so tonally different from the first movie, as to where this movie feels like a dominant comedy, even a cheesy comedy at times, kind of a flashback to like Richard Donner's Superman.
Interesting.
That it feels so much different from the first movie, which was taken very serious. It was like a war epic at times. That's kind of the biggest change. It didn't bother me as much. I like a little comedy, especially in a sequel, because it expands the personality of the protagonist.
Same writer and director as the first one?
Patty Jenkins.
So that's interesting for it to be. I'd be curious to find out what the reasoning was in such a different storyline for essentially a sequel.
I think at that point it was everything that we knew was Zack Snyder, who's very dark.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with World War I, which was very dark.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was some comedy in the first one, but it was definitely a darker, action-packed movie, where this one, it's 1984. When you think of all these 80s things that are coming out, like Stranger Things and all this other stuff that's, 80s is like the new thing now that everybody's wanting to be into.
And
so we kind of talked about
it's
that.
colorful and vibrant and fun.
They weren't going to over-cheesify it. Like, we mentioned that. Like, hopefully we don't go into it and they way overdid it, kind of like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like, they overdid that. But
Was it
for
the
that
same
type of
mall?
show, it worked.
and they didn't overdo the visuals.
I didn't think so either.
So, what were you gonna say?
Was that the same mall from Stranger Things?
Yeah,
It looks like
It
it.
kind
might
of
have
looks like
been.
it. Design structure wise, it is the same.
Sorry to throw that.
No.
on there.
That was kind of one of the things I was going to hit on. Like, I'm glad that they didn't, make it basically decade porn, that they were showing off everything they could. Like, look, new Coke or, stuff like that. That was not it at all. And people were complaining because this didn't have a reason to be in 1984. And I couldn't disagree more. Everything that's going on, without spoiling this, like the Soviet nuke war with America plays heavily into this movie, and just the overall
Cold War.
conflict. Yeah, the Cold War plays into it. So I think it does very much have a place. It just doesn't need to show off its style nonstop.
Which is weird, because that's what the whole 1984 Stranger Things was, too.
Right.
The Cold War. It's like they ripped that off and turned it into a Wonder Woman movie.
That's all any 80s movie or anything like that is, though. Like,
it is like the biggest thing that happened during that time.
even
I was
stuff
born.
like Terminator is
Oh, yeah.
tied to that,
A year before that.
Yeah.
That was more important.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I just didn't think it was great.
What would you have ranked the first one?
I remember what I gave.
Not much more. I'd probably give it a 7.5. I don't remember what my initial thoughts were, but I don't like the ending. So
Yeah.
I gave it an 8 because I love the hell out of the first 2 acts of that movie. I think they're great. I think as far as the first 2 acts go, it's some of the best that DCU has ever produced.
Wow.
But
that's what I kind of got from people.
that third act is so horrendously bad. Like, that third act to me was more offensive than anything in this movie.
Wow.
Like, that's the thing. And I'll put that to debate against anybody.
Wow.
It's the third act is they put a bunch of CG, they threw it at the screen, they said, let's see what sticks.
Yeah.
They overcomplicated the idea.
Have you seen the first one or no?
I've seen the first one.
Okay,
It's
just not the second one.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Yeah.
I would agree.
It's
The
Good
first
point, man.
2, great.
Yeah. But
Third
the
act,
conflict.
it was just, and it ended horribly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's
why I was confused
really
with how
enjoyed the
this
first one.
1984, like seeing the return of a character.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into that, though, because that's spoiler heavy.
Yeah, I just in the previews, like
which
you
they
see it
shouldn't
there.
have put in the preview.
Yeah.
The preview
yeah.
showed way too much.
Yeah.
So
What else you got after Wonder Woman? So you get another movie.
Well, one more key on Wonder Woman. So it opened with the biggest box office release this year, 16.7 million domestically.
wow.
That's a good sign for theaters. We were talking about how superhero movies are probably going to be the thing that brings asses back into the seats.
How much more was that than Tenet did?
Tenet, I believe, did somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,
It was. I
Okay.
think it was like
8.3 or
I
something.
thought it was 7, but yeah, somewhere right there.
Well, I know
Not a lot.
I know we had debated that. For us, we were excited about Tenet, but that wasn't the movie that was going to save the cinema.
We
It
said that
wasn't-
this would be it.
This would be the one, and that they should release it this year because we thought that it would have a much more impactful response than Tenet did,
Yeah.
and that we shouldn't have looked at that as like a downfall to theaters,
Mhm.
to the movie releases. So that's cool.
In the past, what type of numbers did they do for that opening day?
What are we talking?
Like we did 16.7 for Wonder Woman now, but like when in a non-COVID atmosphere,
Gosh.
what are they usually hitting in the
Shit on
30s,
that.
right?
The first one, no, the first one was around 60, I think, was what it was, because it exceeded expectations. People thought that Wonder Woman wasn't going to do as well as it did,
Yeah.
but that was like the big get for the DCU.
You got to think it's not because more people. I think 16 million is probably pretty well off under the circumstance of one, you're gonna have less people going because of COVID, but two,
You can't even
you
get
can
as many
fill
people
less
in.
seats. So
Yeah.
you've got you're battling a double-edged sword there. So 16 million is probably not that bad
And-
of a turnout.
It's streaming.
And it's streaming for free.
Yeah, that's another good point, because you're taking a lot of eyes away from it just on that concept
Yeah.
alone.
So I think you take all those into account.
Yep.
16 million is not a bad box office release.
We would have seen a better showing in the box office if they didn't do the.
Sure.
Yeah. And we
HBO
talked about that
streaming.
a couple weeks ago. We said, hey, this is going to hurt them because you have, even if it's only for 30 days, you know there's a lot of people that signed up for HBO.
Yeah.
No, I
And
considered
pay the
it.
$10 to see that, and they're going to cancel. Like, I wish there was a way you could determine. I was sure there is. I'm sure HBO can release numbers saying how many people signed up and watched it.
Would have been 20 at least.
What's-
They would have made 20 million for sure.
Yeah.
What's the cut that they would get for?
I don't think that's been released.
Yeah, we
No?
don't. We were speculating on that in an episode in terms of what their percentage is and how they make back their money, despite the fact that they're charging virtually nothing to see this movie.
Nothing, yeah.
A
Right.
subscription cost. How does that,
Right.
translate to that?
Yeah, it's hard to put a number.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If I ever get it, I'll update it, but I have not seen anything that explains the numbers of that yet. The second review I wanted to talk about is Disney Pixar had a new release, and it is Soul. We got a couple of trailers for this. Is that for Pixar?
That's for Soul.
Okay.
That was the soul of the movie.
I know. I've heard some of Jesse's thoughts on this movie.
Fucking Jesse.
I
didn't shit on it.
I'm gonna say this. So the thing with Pixar is you expect a certain excellence every movie. Like, they have had some of the best animated films of the past 2 decades. You're talking Coco, Inside Out, the Toy Story quadrilogy, all kinds of great classics. So to me, what?
That was a fancy word. You said quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy.
I was like, what?
Yeah, and that's a word, like trilogy you hear all the time. I don't think quadrilogy is an actual word, but I use it. I don't care.
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah. So to me, I enjoyed Soul. I thought, like, emotionally, thematically, this was the deepest movie that Pixar has ever had. I know Inside Out went into the psychology of, like, adolescence and, why some fall into, like, depression, or some, turn out happy and cheerful and, all that. They break into those emotional palettes. What this movie does is break down the concept of death, the afterlife, life's purpose. I mean, these very hefty themes that even adults still speculate about. The color palette is warm, very, very smooth at times. I know we agree with the one negative flaw in the animation, and that's the afterlife scene. I'll let you go into that more. For me, I enjoyed the story enough to give it an 8 out of 10. There were times where I was flirting with a 7. I feel like the ending, just like Wonder Woman, I feel like the ending kind of stunts its growth a lot. So for me, I'm not going to spoil what happens, but there's something that happens in the final 10 minutes and you go, oh, great, this is awesome. We're applying stakes and circumstances to this. This is great. And then they go, well, you're a kid's movie, so
Wink, wink.
we'll help you out. And I'm like, no, I don't like that. I don't like
Yeah.
it. It takes away from everything that,
They had set up.
you're manipulating kids in that essence. Jesse, what do you think?
No, I think that you said it perfectly, because even though it's a kids movie and they do that
Mm-hmm.
and they bail it out for the kids, there was also stuff that I had big problems with, because typically with these kids movies, there's some type of resolution. We're left hanging on a couple of characters at the end. There's a lot of information.
Have we all seen it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I've seen
so
We have all seen it?
spoiler alerts. If you guys have not seen this yet, let's just talk about it openly, because all 4 of us
Okay.
have
Oh,
seen
No,
it.
shit.
yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
I
All
thought we were the only ones that saw it.
No, all
No,
4 of
I
us have
saw it.
seen it.
Okay,
So
yeah,
we'll
so
talk
yesterday.
about whatever you
All
want.
right, so
If you have not yet, guys, fast forward.
nix it now and
because
fast
we're
forward.
gonna
yeah.
do some spoilers. So
Okay. Well, yeah.
No, so you get to the end, and what was his name? Was it Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe, what you're talking about is he gives up his right to go to Earth, basically, which he's been chasing this entire thing, so that 22 can start a life. She's seen life now. She's going to go and enjoy it. I didn't like that we didn't get a follow-up on her. To even see her, Like I would have liked for him to have turned a corner and kind of had like a Batman ending where he sees her off in the distance and just sees her enjoying life. I don't need to know what she did, but I just want to see her like
him see her
eating a piece
presence.
of pizza or something like that. That would have been significant to show she remembered him kind of and was enjoying something.
An affirmation that she's enjoying life. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I would have liked to have known what happened to him because I believe he dives and then that's it. We don't ever actually see him even
fades
hit
out.
his body.
I guess I just assumed he was going to be the cat again.
Yeah. So
Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I'd like to know if it worked out for him because he was like, well, I'm going to live my life every day. And then it ends, which I thought was a very adult theme to just kind of like leave it like that and be like, oh, it's about living life. It's not about purpose or anything else. It's all about just like living it. And I got that. But like, I don't know. I think it's just because it's a kid's movie. I wanted some of that figured out.
Yeah.
And then there was just little stuff that I didn't like the beings, I don't know, gods or whatever they called themselves, the universe, gatekeepers. They laugh at him at one point and they're like, oh, your spark isn't about your purpose. And then he's just like, but fuck off, you'll never know what it is. And I didn't like that. And I also didn't like what was the last thing? There was one other big thing that I couldn't stand. Oh, his love interest.
Yeah.
There's a love interest. Linda or Lila was an L-named woman, Lisa. They go out of their way to mention her twice specifically. And you never find, was she the reason that, did he leave her for his career? Was, you know, does he regret his career because he loved her? Were they connected in music? Like, there's no information about her. Why are you mentioning this character twice to never mention them again? Like, I thought he should have landed on Earth and went back to her with some flowers or something. There's just so much unanswered.
Just another 3 minutes.
For no reason.
Yeah. Well, and when Jesse mentioned that on my review, I sat and I thought about it a lot, and I was like, you know, in going over the events of the movie and everything, it almost seems like there's a deleted scene or something somewhere that they've left out, that they just figured, we could cut this and it won't matter as much. Like, nobody's really as heavy on his love interest and all that. We can just show her as a, you know, a moment of life that inspires his spark.
Yeah.
You know, and with the whole concept of the spark, you hit on it. For me, I think there's faulty logic in that to begin with, because toward the beginning of the movie, 22 is going through a bunch of different things, and one's being an arsonist, like, you know, setting a building on fire or something like that. And I'm like, well, she's excited. That's technically a spark. Like, for me, that's a spark. It don't matter. It doesn't have to be good. So there's murderers that walk the planet.
Yeah. They even make a joke about like a sociopath, self-indulged, like whatever. They're like, oh, he's gonna be a handful. And it's definitely a fucking murderer.
That's their spark, though. That's so like, whether you like it or not, that's what they're gonna be. There's just a lot of logical loops.
The part that got me was the in the zone.
Yeah.
And then he pulls himself out of the zone to find 22.
Yeah.
Like, he's just I don't know.
It doesn't.
That bothered me.
There's a lot of convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, the guy's playing.
It is Disney.
Guy's playing the piano, and then now what?
Right.
Next thing you know is, or that you find out about him is handed off the Earth ticket.
Yeah.
And then what?
Right.
Yeah. He's sitting there playing it,
and the death itself was a little confusing for me. Like, as far as him dying, because I'm like, well, he fell into a manhole cover, but I'm like, that doesn't necessarily mean you're dead. Like, you probably broke your legs for sure, but like,
he technically never was dead either. So like,
oh yeah, he was kind of stuck in between.
He was in the hospital bed because he could see himself, but then you've got thousands upon thousands of other people walking into this great beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all like not dead yet? But it's
zapper?
just a matter of whether or not they walk through it, because that was another thing I didn't understand. Like, he was dead. They said he was dead. His life was over, but because he broke through, he's just hanging on in a hospital bed.
Yeah, limbo.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was what I gathered from that was that he wasn't like ready yet. I don't know. Like, he was fighting. It was like he was fighting for it, but I don't know what message they were trying to. And I'm sure there's other people that were trying to do that as well.
It's like a Final Destination type feel to it too.
And how did his mom not know that he was like
the
dead
numbers
in the
are
hospital
off.
either?
Well, yeah, as far as like the statistics from the afterlife, I feel like as heavy as their exposition dumps were at times in that late in the first act, I feel like they could have explained it a lot more than they did.
Yeah.
And was it Terry?
Terry's the
Terry going
counter.
through the names of counting.
Yeah.
There was one detail that I really liked on that when he first opens the drawer and they're all alphabetized, but it's just AA to AA, like all the way down. I'm like, this dude's gonna be in here forever.
So he gets what, like 5 blocks in, 7 block. Did he find Joe?
Yeah, he said they
'Cause
say
they
he
didn't
eventually finds the
really-
discrepancy. Yeah, because he comes back and says he fixes it, and then they're gonna send him down, and that's where they're saying, you know, be careful, don't get caught. Like he was gonna go back and figure out the issue, and he finds him down there, and then
I just didn't know if he found him in the file cabinet.
Well, then
He's
plus,
like,
like,
wait.
go ahead.
I just like it kind of.
It took.
I guess to me it didn't like explain it well enough to like, okay, now this is the point where he found him and now he's going down. Like I didn't. I must have missed that part.
And you're
but-
grasping that as an audience. So like you're supposed to be every which way, like eye to eye with this character, knowing what's going on. You don't have to be told it. You can see it and understand what's going on. That's the point of every movie is that you're supposed to know that without them telling you that.
Right. And I had a hard time grasping like when did that happen that now they know Joe's the one that's missing. I must have missed that.
Yeah.
I could have looked away or something.
There was no like consequence for why Terry was so obsessed with it either. Like I would have liked for them to have a reason other than the fact that he's just this super anal counting guy, and all of the other deities are all just like laid back, like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Like they end up just like fudging the numbers, and there's no reason. Like, what is the purpose for the number being off? Like, is it gonna? It should have been like, oh, it's gonna mess up the space-time continuum. We got to figure it out or something. Like, I don't know. It was just
no stakes.
It was just something that they kind of threw in. Well, we can't think of a problem. Let's just make it so that one of the deities is a accountant that needs the numbers to be right. Like, there's nothing other than that for reasons why they went after them to try to save him from being in the cat and all that crap, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's like, to me, I got enough from it. Like, you know, visually it was stunning.
Yeah.
I felt like the detail with Pixar's animations really getting almost surreal, like to where, you know, I'm not talking about just like character designs. I'm talking like, I look at the small things. So like how the sun hits off of glass or, you know, certain elements like that.
The saxophone looked real.
Yeah.
Like objects and stuff look real. The people aren't quite there, but I feel like they could be if they wanted them to be. And because when she was playing that sax, I was like, holy shit, that looks like it was just thrown into the movie from real life.
So I've got the Hue play lights on the back of my TV. So as the video is playing, it reflects the colors of the action on the back of on my wall. Lights out. That movie, man, lit up that back wall,
blues
like the blues and the greens. Oh, it was that was an experience just watching that because they did a really good job with the color aspect, the visual aspect of the movie.
So cool.
And the sound. The music.
Yeah, oh yeah, the music was great. And what I like about it though is it's not a real music heavy movie though. Like so you get this movie that's about jazz and the blues and all that, and you think like, well, it's gonna be, you know, nonstop about the history of that. It doesn't rely on that. You know? It's
which I like though.
Yeah, me too. So like, you know, kids aren't gonna know that stuff and they're not really gonna be interested in it either.
That girl with the trombone when she got in the zone.
Oh yeah.
Like that got me goosebumps.
Yeah.
That sounded good. And then the piano playing at near the end.
Mm-hmm.
That was
When 22 was taking him over, you're talking?
No, when he was getting in the zone, like when he was playing the piano to get in the zone to.
Oh, with his memories.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was sound was good, visuals were good, the storyline just a little.
I think if I was a kid, I'd be bored. I think if this was made
it's
for,
more for an adult,
adults,
right? Yeah, I agree.
Which most Pixar movies have adult stuff in it, but they're not made for adults. This was like the first one where I feel like we'd be like, "Oh man, this is deep, this is good," and then if I had a kid, they'd be like, I don't know, running around the fucking theater.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6.5.
6.5 for you.
Which I was surprised by. I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
9, I'd say for me. First thing I noticed off the bat was just how it looked. I mean, it was beautiful. Like you guys were mentioning, like the realism and the textures and stuff. The first thing that I noticed that caught my eye on that was the grain of the wood on the piano when he's sitting there playing, and it just looks insane. I love that style of Pixar, where it's not. That's like my favorite style that they do. It's realistic, but it's not to the point of like a video game where they're trying to make you look like a real person. And, you know, it still has that animation style behind it, but like it was gorgeous. The character styling, I was a huge fan of. Some of those things you guys mentioned I agree with as far as gripes, but not enough to give it a 6.5. My biggest thing I disliked was, not the biggest thing, but one of the things I really disliked was the styling of the gatekeeper people.
Yeah.
It felt disconnected from the rest of the animation.
Oh, it was you that said that, not Jesse. Okay.
It was kind of like they were like an afterthought, you know, in the design aspect of them, just being like
Unfinished.
the lines, like it just didn't fit with the other design aspects of the movie. I kind of look at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Especially being an artist.
Right.
Yeah.
It just they felt out of place, like it was from a different designer or graphic artist or something that they did just that part of the movie.
Yeah.
I think it is definitely more geared towards adult, the double entendre with the name, obviously being soul about blues music and stuff like that and jazz, but also the obvious more prominent point with the afterlife and that aspect of soul. I definitely think they tried to touch on, and they kind of had a hint with the they kind of set like a racial tone as well, you know, with it being primarily an African American cast and stuff like that. And I think they did a good job with that. I surprisingly saw a lot of people that were giving that backlash.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because I thought that they did a good job with it. But there was people that were upset about the way they characterized the characters in the movie and the story that they told and stuff, which again, I mean, I don't know. I didn't take anything negative away from it. I thought it was a very well done movie.
So this one hit hard for you then as far as rank goes. Like, where would you put it with the rest of the Pixar films?
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I think that they told a really good story. I think what the things that they touched on in it, as far as, you know, Jesse kind of mentioned with just living your life and the material things don't really matter, and they touched on a lot of, like I don't want to say religious thing, but like there was just a lot of spiritual points that they touched on, and kind of finding yourself. And they were sending the right message, I think. I thoroughly enjoy it. I'd say it's up there with one of my favorites. The way it looked was towards the top. Storyline, I was very impressed. So I don't know what I would rank it, though. There's a lot of Pixar movies.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you even compare?
That's
Toy Story is a classic. Like, I don't know. You compare that to a Toy Story?
That's one that I'm not looking forward to on my tier rankings.
It's tough, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I think they did a good job. The ending I didn't like, though. Yeah. So the girlfriend thing, so like Lisa and 22 being back, it's probably far-fetched, but the only thing I could think of is maybe it sets it up for another movie. You know, maybe not a sequel, but maybe another version of it where it's 22's life and he has a part in the movie, and they show like where she went on to become. Or maybe there's something where they retouch base on Lisa and his story continues and 22 becomes a part of it and he seeks her out to see what she's doing and where she's going. They could do more with it. I don't think it has to end with just this one. Pixar goes on. I mean, they're notorious for having sequels and trilogies or quadruples, whatever you call it. Quadrilogies, you know, so.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with 22 living again. I have a problem with Joe living again. That was my problem.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, you know, imagine like Patrick Swayze in Ghost, where if, you know, the heavens open up at the end of the movie and they go like, you two kids look cute together. I'm not gonna interrupt on this shit. You guys go ahead.
Is it because he was able to sneak away that you don't like that he lived again, or you don't like that he lived again based on everything else that happened?
Two reasons. One, he's getting a second chance that everybody else is not getting. Now, look, everybody's life didn't end at the time it probably should have. It was probably untimely on certain ends. You know, it was like somebody, I don't know, fell off a building accidentally or something like that.
Right.
They're dead. Like, they don't get a chance. But old Joe, come on in, and, you know, you get to live a second life. And for me, I just think it kind of manipulates kids in that it's like we're not teaching them the right things. Sure, they know about death and you only get one chance and all that, but to watch a movie that literally contradicts it, I think it's kind of irresponsible.
I mean, they left off a story plot there. I mean, because to Jesse's point, they don't tell the story of what the other souls that are going up pearly gates, what happened to them. You only see one person. It'd be a different now, but to that point, what are the other mentors are the same situation as Joe, aren't they? Where they're in between and they have to prove themselves?
I don't think that it's to get your life back, though. It's just they were supposed to be like great beings who are now teaching the future life how to be. I think it would have been better had he maybe gotten that chance with that Dorothea Williams chick that he wanted to play with
Yeah.
and had it fall through and just have it be like one more big loss. Maybe he loses his teaching job because of that and then dies. And he goes into it cynical, not feeling like his life was worth anything, and then finds the beauty of what he lived while getting 22 to want to live, and then feeling content to go to the afterlife.
That'd be cool.
I still think that
That's way too deep for kids.
I think it would have been better. I think it
It's a
would have been
great
better as a
story.
short.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a
it would have
great
been better as
story.
a
Yeah.
short, personally.
He
A
had-
Disney short
he
film.
had that eye-opening moment where it's like, okay, I played with Dorothea and
Yeah.
I don't feel any different. I thought my life was going to be more than the way I feel right now. I don't want to come back tomorrow to play again.
Yeah.
If that's what it's going to be. He
Well,
wanted more out of that.
More out of his life because he saw the emptiness, so the sitting in the booth and all that. So like
Right.
for me, it was music was not his spark. His spark was the moments in his life that he made for himself.
Right.
Which they kind of touched on, even though we dislike it, when they said your spark isn't music or this specifically. It can be a multitude of different things,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So I think they kind of touched back. They did reconnect that, even though it's kind of an easy way out.
Yeah.
But they did at least circle back to that point that they had made, that it doesn't have to be that you want to be a chef or you want to be a
Right.
musician. It's the points within your life that made you
Yeah.
happy.
It's not that one thing that you work hard at every day.
Right.
That makes your life worth living.
Yep.
It's
Living your
all
life.
the little moments
Yeah.
throughout, and don't take it for granted.
Absolutely.
I mean, I gave it an 8. Ryan gave it a 9.
Give it a 6.5.
Jesse gave it a 6.5.
Probably about an 8. I mean,
8
even
for
with the hiccups. I read your review on it, and one of the things that kind of bothered me too that you touched on was how 22 was able to start walking
Well, muscle memory.
with it's
And
just
people
all
go,
right
you're so anal. And I'm like, are we making a realistic
Does a
kids movie,
baby-
or are we just,
does a baby come out ready to walk?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So
Well,
And
she
that's
failed
essentially
walking like
what-
50 times,
Yeah,
so
right.
why don't even bring that up
and-
then if you're going to have her just muscle memory.
And they bring it up for other things too, like other senses. Like they bring those up, but they never bring up the walking. There's another one I can't remember. I think it's memory or something like that. Like she memorizes something. She
kept
goes, "Wow, I can remember this," or she does something.
I think it was something about his mom.
Yeah.
Wasn't it something with his mom?
Yes.
Like
it was
he
an offhand
disappoint-
comment or something. She was like, "That's not me talking. That's just coming from your
Yeah.
brain."
Yeah.
So that's my thing to that point. So I like to play devil's advocate,
No. Please.
but I think the muscle memory thing or the walking thing seems irrelevant in the aspect of she shouldn't have had to figure it out. She was just the soul within his body that already knows how to walk. His body and himself and his brain is what's functioning that body. I think they tried to give too much meaning to the soul having to function the body. All she did was like rebirth him, I guess. You know, like it depends on how you look at what a soul is and what that achieves within a person's body. But it was his body that was doing all the work.
Yeah.
You know, so she should have known how to walk and do all those things.
But I feel like even if you're inhabiting a body, like you got to go like, so your mind tells you like Jesse's going to go to the bathroom or something like that, trip over 60 things. So like
knock off
his
the shelf.
he goes like, I have to lift my left leg right now. I have to lift my right leg. I have to do that. Like that's what your
Yeah.
mind is telling you at all times.
Yeah.
But is your soul your mind?
Well,
That's my thing.
but problem continuity issue. They said everything that they learned there they would not ever remember again. So why are you doing walking tests and all that other shit in the first place when you're just going to have to relearn it on Earth anyways? So
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense that they would even have that
Yeah.
thrown in
That's
there.
what I mean. Like, I think they fucked up with making that such a point in it. I think it had to go one way or the other. It either
Yeah.
was not relevant or, to the continuity point, fully stick it out. You know,
You
'cause-
got to go all the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. They
So
dropped the ball.
Even
there.
with the Sparks and everything, like Joe Spark was piano. Had his dad never taken him to that jazz club, or he was just like a piece of shit teenager who was like, "I'm not going, Dad." Like he would have never been exposed, and his spark would have been wasted anyways. So
Yeah.
I wish they would have talked about that too. Like maybe people who don't find their spark, what is their life like, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they become those lost souls.
Yeah, it's easy to tear apart when we look, because I mean, you got to.
I wasn't tearing it apart. I gave it an 8.
No, but I mean, it's easy to like break down all these things and really critique it, because you also got to think our age group in what the movie was made for. I mean, it was geared towards adults, but it's still a kid's movie.
Sure.
Don't do that. Don't do that argument.
I
hate that argument. No, and here's what I'll say. Like, all the time, people always say that when I critique a kid's movie. They go, well, it's for kids. I'm like, good, so they're stupid. Let's treat them like drooling idiots.
Well, I mean, is that wrong? Jesus. I mean, I'm just saying. Most of them are. You have to come on. We are in a society at this point where we coddle them. I mean, might as well be at least continue that in the correct direction.
But those movies aren't created necessarily just for.
I know.
It's so that you can grow. Like those movies, kids will grow up watching them over and over, like we did with Lion King and Aladdin and all those other things. Like kids will grow up watching Moana as a kid, and they're gonna like it because it's got the funny chicken and it's got the giant crab, and they think that whatever the Rock's character's name is funny. And then maybe once they get a little bit older and they start, they go to school and they get bullied for the first time or something, and they take out something from that movie then.
Right.
And you can watch it again and learn and learn more and more and more. But like
that's a perfect point, though. To that point, when they're no longer babbling, drooling idiots and they get older and continue to watch it, those deeper things that we're talking about now will start to come out. And I think this movie will withstand the test of time. I think it will. I think you can.
You don't think so?
I don't think it will.
I don't either.
It's Pixar. I think honestly.
It will.
Yeah, I have to agree with Ryan. It's Pixar. All their movies are going to be considered classics amongst the mainstream audience.
Well, not even just that. I think the story that they were trying to achieve, I think as a kid, as you get older and rewatch it, I think you'll take more out of it.
Yeah.
As you mature and you understand things a little bit more deeper, you're going to appreciate, and like even though they did not achieve it the way we wanted them to, we still took away certain messages from it because we wished it would have went this way. I think you can still kind of unpack some of that stuff from it.
Are you gonna see 22s on Halloween? 22 costumes?
You wouldn't.
By no means.
You might see Joe.
I think,
I don't think
there's anything impactful. But in this movie, there's nothing really impactful you're going to dress up as. I don't think.
I just don't think.
But
Toy
I get
Story,
your point.
you do. I mean, that's why I don't think it'll withstand the test of time.
No, it'll be
just
like
not that kids movie type.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely, like Jesse said, it's more for adults.
Yeah.
And I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely.
I think if you're going to hit very deep concepts, though, you have to be able to make sure that everything. You're always going to have some type of error.
Yeah.
There's some type of convenience or something like that. But like this had a lot of it. And if you're going to tackle something as big as the soul and the afterlife and death and the meaning of life, it needs to be pretty well wrapped together and not have this many loose ends.
It's like the birds and the bees, man. They set the tone, and they're going to go back to their parents and rely on them to fully explain the darkness of it, and not just put that all out there in a kid's movie. And I don't know. They still got to try and hit the mark. I don't know.
If you're like Chris, who walks in on his parents when he's 6 years old on Sunday morning wrestling, and you go, oh, yeah, I don't need a Pixar movie for that.
So that's what happened.
I love WWE.
Yeah. So we all gave our grades on that.
Chris is an avid wrestling fan now. The story unfolded as to why exactly that is.
You're not wrong.
Jesus.
I wanted to move on a little bit here. Two more things. First up, a lost Game Boy add-on called the Work Boy has been found after 28 years. A lost, unreleased Game Boy add-on known as the Work Boy has been discovered and reveals an accessory that could have brought PDA-like functions like an address book, calculator, appointment book, and so much more to Nintendo's beloved handheld device. Guys, was this an iPad before iPads were even a thought in a creator's mind?
Apparently so. I mean, that's where Nintendo's from, is what, Japanese, right?
Yeah.
That's where all this stuff originates from, and they think all this technology up. So that's surprising. I mean, you got to think the direction that they started to go, though, with the Game Boy. I mean, they had like the light on it, and they were kind of going that way where it was going to become more than just a gaming device. That's pretty wild, though. Where's that from?
This is from IGN.com, I'll show you, like, if you want to see the visual there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got like a keyboard on it. You'll see there tied in or wrapped into the Game Boy.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah, and like the one thing, if you had a Game Boy like I did growing up, like thing was a battery whore, man. Unless you had a charger for it,
power pack.
Yeah, you had to have that power pack. This is crazy though to think about just the ideas that became, known more in the 90s, I guess, with the appointment book and address and all that electronically. It's crazy to think that Nintendo really was ahead of its time in that regard.
Nintendo's done a lot of stuff like that. Like if you look at Nintendo 64, they were the first ones to introduce the Rumble Pack. But something that I saw, I think it was on one of those Netflix video games that made
The Games That Made Us.
The Games That Made Us.
Yeah.
They talked about how they had developed, I don't know if it was a limited release or if it never got released, but it was something that you would connect to the back of your controller. It would take a photo of you, and then it would
put your
input
face on it.
your face into the game.
That's what I always thought it should do. Yeah.
I mean, you can't even get 2K to do that correctly now. I do that, and my fucking eyes are like on the side of my head, and my nose is like this fucking big.
That's accurate. Have you looked in the mirror?
Who invited this guy?
Fuck you, Angel.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. They're always trying new and improvement like things. They did the Wii.
Yeah.
Motion video games, like they don't have the
Virtual
best games or the
reality.
best graphics, but like everything they do well.
Yeah. And
Technological advances with the video games they're good about, but they don't have the game creators. They don't have the people behind
They
it.
create their own
games.
niche.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's unique to them. Like,
Yes.
you know, there's other video game, obviously, consoles and companies and stuff like that. But Nintendo was always like, especially in that time, they were in a league of their own.
Yeah.
Like, they knew the products they were marketing toward the future. So, which, speaking of which, reading this article earlier, the reason it fell through is because ultimately they lost funding for it because they felt that electronic address books and stuff like that wasn't going to be a necessity of the future.
Wow.
So, like, a bad decision on top of a bunch of good ones, you know?
Imagine what we would be at had they put that out there now. Like,
Right.
it'd be, I don't know. Game Boy probably wouldn't have died.
Just like
Do they make Game Boys anymore? It's just a Switch now.
Yeah, I think
they don't.
they don't even make color,
The
right?
color was the end of it.
Yeah.
No, they did Game Boy Advance, and they did, what all did they do? There was Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and then they did the one that flipped open.
Yeah, the 3DS.
3DS.
Oh,
3DS was the
yeah.
last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
3DS was whack. That 3D did not work.
My last one I had was the Game Boy Color.
I don't
Yeah.
think it
I
was
didn't get
3D,
into the
right?
other
Was
ones.
it?
I had a purple
Yeah,
one.
I
you
think it
could
was just you could move from the top screen to the bottom screen.
That was the
I
they had
never
a,
played with
they had
one.
a
I don't know.
basic one where it didn't have any 3D, but if you paid like an extra 50 or $100 or something, there was like a toggle switch that would put two images on there like simultaneously, just like a movie would be, but it just kind of provided depth. It wasn't really like 3D.
Yeah.
It was whack.
Okay, moving on to the last thing. Since we had 3 days left of 2020, moving into 2021. I know a lot of people are excited to get this year done. Let's look back. One last reflection. Movies and music. We'll start with music. Do you guys have any favorite songs from the year that you can think of? Nothing?
Jesse, anything Kanye? Jesus, Yeezus?
He came out with that
Stupid
religious
Chick-fil-A
album.
song.
His one song "Water" on that album I like a lot. I don't know if I would say it's the best song of 2020, but I'm not really like I'm not super into music to the point where I would know a lot of new music like I would movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go with that. That's my favorite song on that album, and that's the only
Closed on
album I was
Sunday.
excited for.
Before I move to these two, then how about give us one or two TV shows that you would recommend then from 2020?
Oh fuck, there's so much stuff on Netflix that I've watched this year.
Since you can't.
Somebody didn't come prepared.
I know. Well, I was
watch
running late as
your-
it was, and then I didn't get a chance to review any of this. I'm watching The Ripper right now,
Okay.
and that's been fantastic.
I've wanted to check that
I
out.
started it. I fell asleep.
Really?
Started it late though, so it's my own fault.
Yeah, that's been really good.
Did you check out any of those manhunts or anything?
Not yet.
Not
They're
yet.
on my list.
I'd want to see that too because you were recommending the hell out of that.
Good,
so
man.
I think I'm going to do it after Cobra Kai and Dickinson
you got a lot
season
on your
2
plate.
comes out.
There was one show on Hulu that I really liked. It was called. Yeah, I watched it a couple of
God,
months
what
ago.
a strange working title.
Right?
It was the one where the dude gets assaulted by the police. He's a cartoonist, and the cartoons start like real life objects around him start turning into like animated things, like talking to him about being an advocate and stuff. It's called Woke.
Oh,
I haven't heard of that.
Wait a second. Yeah.
I don't know the actor's name. He was the black guy from the It's Jess show.
Oh, New Girl?
New Girl.
It's Winston is his character name, but
Yeah. So he's in it. He gets assaulted by the police in the first episode. It's the whole premise of it. And basically he gets like PTSD. He's a cartoonist who never really like wanted to draw about anything too edgy. He just wanted to kind of like lay low and have his stuff. And then what would happen would be like that refrigerator would all of a sudden have eyes and a mouth and be like, man, what the fuck are you drawing all this shit for if you aren't changing the world? And like just like bugging him all the time.
Wow.
And so it's about how he deals with all of that.
PTSD stuff.
And like not necessarily just the PTSD, but how he starts realizing like the racial problem and all that other stuff and starts advocating for it. And
Wow.
it's really cool. There's one scene where there's like a koala that goes missing and so many people are worried about it, and he's just like, I got my ass beat, and like just loses his shit. He's like, you're carrying about a fucking koala.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
god.
that's the show that I would probably
Woke.
say is 2020 worthy
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
Dan, any music or shows?
See, music I'm terrible with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what came out this year versus what came out last year or
Okay.
what's coming out next year. I don't know.
So give us a show or two.
Show, I mean, I've watched quite a few shows, and some of the ones more recently. The Flight Attendant on HBO Max, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It's with Kaylee Cuoco, and that was. I mean, I was able to watch that. It's very confusing. Like it jumps around, but great. I think it was a great storyline.
Yeah. Is it a thriller?
It's like a murder mystery
Oh, okay.
type setup. So, but more. What did you say? Like a drama or
It's
action
like a murder.
drama?
It's a murder mystery with a little bit of like a sci-fi feel with the like the weird. I don't know without giving it away, but yeah, it's good.
It's good.
I'd say a thriller, murder mystery thriller is a good way to define what it is. It's worth watching. I was intrigued by the storyline.
Yeah. That one, and I don't know why I'm blanking on the title, but the chess player,
Oh, the Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I
mean,
recommend it heavily too.
It was a good. That was a good show. So
Yeah. These guys turned me on to that show, and I was like, oh, God, yeah. I can understand its purpose now, like why so many people love it. Yeah. Ryan, do you got any music or TV shows?
Music, I don't. I still listen to the same stuff I listened to in high school.
Me too.
I don't really know much new music. The only way I find out about new music is through TikTok,
Mhm.
and then I hear it all on the radio, and I'm like, oh, that's where that's from. I don't know. I just, especially with this year, I just haven't really gotten into much new music.
Mhm.
AJR, I think is the name of them, and I found them from TikTok. It's two brothers, and they literally make all their music in like their bedroom like this, and they do very well for themselves.
TikTok is interesting. Like, it's really on a revolution right now,
Yep.
especially with everything going on in the world.
That's where that app started, though. It was called Musical.ly. I mean, it was a music-based app, and then
Mhm.
it's just kind of evolved into what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so music-wise, not much. Shows, I mean, I've watched a ton of shows, but I don't know if they're from 2020, so I don't know if that really counts.
Name some.
Well, the Manhunts. Huge fan.
Yeah,
Manhunt,
that's from
Dudley
2020.
Games,
Yep.
Manhunt, Unabomber.
Yeah.
It's the only two in that series so far. Highly recommend both of those. They're fantastic. 8 or so episodes long. Flight Attendant, like Dan said. Great, just kind of sci-fi murder mystery thriller show. Queen's Gambit, fantastic. So lots of shows, movies. Did we talk about movies?
No, I'm saving
Okay.
that for the
So
last
just-
go around.
So just shows. I mean, I've watched I went on like a documentary spree.
Yeah.
And I just watched a ton of documentaries.
My kind of dude.
One of my favorite lines, movies or shows in general is just stuff based around true stories. I'm a big fan of that stuff. I started Ripper. One episode in, I got like sidetracked and started watching something else, but
Sounds exciting.
no, but it's like the issue was
I like it.
no, it's good. I'm gonna finish it, but if I was already watching a show and then I like got intrigued by that, so I started it, and then I went back to finishing the show I was already watching.
Yeah.
So I just I can't do more than one like series at a time. It's too much.
Zac Efron will always be there. Just finish The Ripper already.
Zac Efron's my like go-to, man.
But you've watched it like 6 times.
I mean, look
Getting
at
obsessive.
Look at that guy. So yeah, that's for show. Music, I don't have anything. There's lots of good shows out. Netflix, HBO have done a very good job. Even Disney Plus. I mean, Mandalorian was great. I got sucked into a lot of the Disney behind the scenes shows.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
They did some like about each individual park, and then they told you kind of like hidden things about them, and they were like documentary type stuff. So those were cool.
Mm-hmm.
But what else?
I'll go the music route. I'm not going to mention my movies, so this is going to be the only thing I'm going to add to the conversation. As far as music goes, I got a couple here that I really enjoyed this year. Damage by H.E.R., kind of an R&B artist. She's a 20-year-old black woman who is bringing back like R&B and kind of soul music. Sounds really smooth, kind of almost like that
Like an Aaliyah type.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. Her early days, Aaliyah.
Okay.
It's like smooth, almost elevator type music, but her voice is so smooth to that music. It works a perfect combination.
Does you liking it have anything to do with the way she looks?
It does. I'm not gonna lie. Which brings me to my next artist, Haley Steinfeld's Wrong Direction.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So
I did not know that she did music.
in addition,
Neither did I.
in addition to
didn't know
being
she
my
was.
wife, she's has quite a great pop career.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Next one is what I consider the best rock album of the year, and that's Ohms from Deftones. I recommend the whole album. It
Yes.
is perfect. In my opinion, their second best album to date. And full of, it's got like a synth sound to it, which I think is cool. A lot of artists are doing that now.
It's like the new thing.
It is, but I think the Deftones adds a lot of layers to that rock, heavy metal guitar kind of feel, and I love the marriage of that. It kind of redefines the Deftones.
Weird thing about, because I'm a big Deftones fan.
Me too.
A weird thing about that aspect, though, is I don't, not that they're a follower, but I don't look at Deftones as followers. They kind of like do their own thing.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a late in the game if it's synth based. I haven't listened to the full album yet, but like to initiate that aspect, because I feel like that kind of became a thing several years ago where a lot of bands got into having, they have their keyboard players or their piano players, but then they had a separate synth person, you know? So that's interesting for Deftones. I got to check that out.
And Chino said this was only going to be like a one album kind of experimental thing, but I think it's produced some of their best music in a decade at
Yeah,
least.
second best. That's impressive.
Yeah, I would put it above Koi no Yoken, and that was probably my second favorite Deftones record to date.
Nice.
Two other songs, Caution from the Killers, and once again going on that kind of synth rock kind of feel, but there's a poppy element to this that I really love. Throw in Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac to do the guitars on this song, and it's incredible. When everything first got quarantined because of COVID, these guys did this song on the air, and it was cool because they would perform it in a bathroom. Just two of the members of the songs or of the band. It was the bassist and the singer, obviously, and the sound, the acoustics of the bathroom actually added to the performance. So if you're going to see it, I recommend the James Corden performance or the Jimmy Fallon performance.
Does it have that normal high energy vibe and stuff that the Killers normally? That's what I've always enjoyed about them.
It builds up to it.
Does it?
So the song starts like, when you first hear it, you're like, God, this is slow as can be. And then like it eventually picks up to it. It starts getting a little more whimsical, and it picks up the energy. And then by the time the second go around of the chorus comes along, you're singing it. Like, it's catchy, it's easy to remember, and it's everything that the Killers have prescribed ever since their, I don't want to say their fame has gone down, but the second wind of their career, I feel like has produced much better music than their first.
Yeah.
Personally.
I mean, I haven't heard, and I didn't even know they had a new album.
Yeah.
The last thing from Killers was like when Mr. Brightside and stuff. That was like
jeez.
their
Me
big
too.
time. Like, I was in love with that album. I
Oh,
listen to
man.
Killers all the time.
Battleborn's their best CD, in my opinion. That's the one right after that.
That's my issue. I haven't like taken the time to really listen to or get into anything newer. I'm still stuck on that. So I got some catching up to do.
And my favorite song of the year is Levitating by Dua Lipa. It's kind of a 70s dance jam that it very much influences, like I said, the soul rhythms of the 70s mixed with the pop electronica of today. And Dua Lipa, aside from being drop dead gorgeous, she's actually a hell of a singer. She's got kind of like that deep tone. You guys like that with like Billie Eilish and stuff. I love that when it comes to like Dua Lipa. She sounds unlike anyone else going today, and that song is infectious. It is Rhythm Nation across the nation.
She's that song is popular on TikTok.
Yeah, I love like that song. I've heard that song since like August, and every time it's on, I still gotta blare it up loud in my car.
Very cool.
Favorite movies of the year. Give us like a top three. And then we'll move on to the last segment.
Okay.
Jesse?
I was scrolling through because I couldn't remember every movie that I've even seen. The Trial of Chicago 7 is up there.
Very good pick.
That's probably my favorite, but I really like The Devil All the Time also.
Yeah. You would love that movie. I remember when it first came out.
Yeah, that was, I think that's probably my
I
favorite.
forgot about that one.
It's so good.
Great year for Netflix.
I'm trying to think of other stuff like Netflix that came out and everything because the list is so long. I'm like, there's no way all these movies came out in 2020. I do remember we saw The Invisible Man, which
that was 2020.
I thought was really good because I expected it to be awful,
Me
and I was
too.
really surprised.
Oh, we saw that in Florida.
Yeah, it's definitely not my top three, but just something that surprised me that's worth watching. That was definitely it. As soon as you guys say other movies, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, that's definitely there. But those first two, 100% are my top two for sure.
Yeah.
I love those movies.
Nice. Dan?
Yeah, Skip me for now.
He's going through.
I gotta remember.
So I tried to just remember I started listing just everything I could remember seeing this year, so I had some kind of an idea, because with theaters being closed, I mean, we relied on Netflix for a lot of stuff. I really tried to avoid doing any of the on-demand. Like, I'd like to go to the theater as much as I can. Invisible Man was on my list. I totally forgot. I was trying to remember where we saw that. I just remember we saw it when we were in Orlando.
I saw it twice.
Just good.
Theaters, yeah.
So the ones I could think of just offhand that I've seen this year that are like, I've seen more than this, but that were noteworthy or that people have probably seen was Tenet, Extraction, Soul, Tax Collector, Ava, Freaky, Hoobie Halloween, Onward, Invisible Man, Trial of Chicago 7. Trial of Chicago 7 is probably towards the top 3 for sure. That movie was fantastic.
Yeah, another Netflix.
I was shocked by the minimal play of Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
I thought that was he's such a big name, and to play such a smaller role, I thought that was interesting, but the movie was fantastic.
What I love about it is it's very much an ensemble piece in that, you know, it's a bunch of ingredients mixing together to make one scintillating drama. And so, like, in that regards, it's not that Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like you said, it's not like his performance is reduced.
No.
It's just that he's one of the elements in the simmering pot.
Yeah.
You know?
His role was done very well. In the person he portrayed was an important role.
Very much.
It was just, I guess, more so the minimal. He just had less screen time than you would think for him as an actor, you know. So, was that was a direct to Netflix? Like, that was a Netflix. Movie, not a theater based or anything.
So one thing I'll say, one spoiler about my list that's coming out next week is that Netflix ruled the year.
Yeah, they did.
It dominated.
We talked about that last week or the week before about how they've done so well with the Netflix original content.
Yeah.
You know, and what that was going to play when we go into theaters going to more direct and these online places taking over. So, but yeah, so Trial of Chicago 7 was a huge one for me. I really, really liked Freaky.
Yeah,
I'd put that in my top 3. That was a fun one. And I really liked Tax Collector.
I never saw it. You liked it.
I enjoyed it. It was dark. It was brutal. It was a different role for Shia, but it was a really good movie. So those were probably my top 3. Tenet, I mean, I really love Tenet, but can I put it at top 3? I don't know. I feel like there was some quality movies this year.
Tenet was in my top 3 disappointments. I thought it was good, but I wanted it to be amazing.
That's where I'm at.
And it just let me down.
We hyped that up so much, and, you know, we were so ready to be back in the theaters and everything. I think under different circumstances, I don't think we would be as let down as we probably were. But, you know, we had so much anticipation building up to, yes, we get to be back in the theater in this Christopher Nolan film that, like, we really set that bar up there.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't awful, like Jesse said, but it was not what I was hoping for. And I think that kind of brings it down, which I didn't put into my top 3, but it was still good.
I think as far as disappointments go, for me, it was Peninsula for sure. And that was the sequel to Train to Busan.
Okay.
And Train to Busan was like the best zombie film of the last 10 years, 15 years easily. And then to follow it up with something that's as uninspired, from the same director, mind you, as uninspired. It looks like any normal CG heavy generic action film. Yeah, everybody did. Like, when I reviewed that, they go, well, what's Peninsula? I go, that's the sequel to Train to Busan. And they go, oh, is it great? I go, no, not at all.
I won't see it then.
Yeah,
I forgot that was even out.
I meant to go back and watch that Train to Busan because you guys both talked about it very highly of it, and I haven't watched it.
I recommend that to the end of the earth. But
yeah, that's what you guys
Peninsula's
said.
horrible.
Yeah, so there was a lot of good ones. I really liked Onward too. I mean, that was
was that 2020?
Yeah, kind of gets forgotten, and
I love Onward. I think Onward's better than Soul.
Do you?
Yeah,
it's up. See, and I was back and forth between the two of that because Onward was good.
Onward made me like cry. Like, usually I get like a little teary eyed watching.
Little bitch. Who cries
Fuck you! You cry at everything.
That hill scene, dude.
Yes, man. When he goes up and hugs, I was like, fuck.
Onward was good.
Yeah, Onward was good. And Jesse's right though, because it came out in March, a lot of people forget about it.
That's where I was struggling with. When I was making my list, I'm like, I think these are 2020, but I know Chris will correct me if I'm wrong. But I was like, it's hard to remember this year. Like, what did I see? And because of Netflix, I watched so much stuff that you never know. Did it come out this year, or is it something I just now finally catching up on? So as far as 2020 releases,
I'll put. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's my problem right now. Is I don't
come up with anything, or do you have any idea?
I don't know what I've seen. Honestly, I've watched so many movies on Netflix,
Yeah,
Hulu, it's all over the place. So to really pinpoint any 1, 2, or 3, Tenet I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because the having to think about what's going on and piece it together as it's happening was something that I found interesting with that. But any other movie, man, I couldn't tell you.
Remember we tried to watch Tenet in Fortnite and Jesse fucked up and put us in the wrong scene?
I didn't do that shit. I don't play Fortnite.
I remember you guys are raving about it, and I'm like, so what, you're going to get to watch it on the screen, or what the hell's going on?
Yeah, that's what was supposed to happen. I didn't fucking lead you guys anywhere. You guys were the Fortnite players, not me. They're like, oh, we're going to go to the stage, and we're on the fucking wrong side of an island. There's not an easy way to get across a fucking island in the video game.
I'll say this too. I started that countdown process last night. I got through like the first 30 movies or something like that, and like already 2 or 3 times I had to go back and I'm like, what is that movie?
Yeah.
So like I had to go back and I had to like re-evaluate everything, read my review, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I saw that this year.
So real quick, and I don't know if you can answer this because of your ratings being released and everything, but Oscar season's coming up soon. What do you think wins? Maybe not necessarily your pick, but what do you think wins Best Picture out of the small scale of movies that we've had this year?
I think Ma Rainey's got a great chance.
I don't know that one.
Excuse me?
That's an Oscar darling. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which that'll help you even more. It was a movie that's on Netflix now. It got released 2 weeks ago. Chadwick Boseman's last film.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
So it's got great performances from Boseman and Viola Davis, who should both be nominated for an Oscar without a doubt.
Not taking away that he passed away. Does that add anything to the film because he passed away, and any significance to this was his last film?
No, it's his best performance to date.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very much so, because like it's very much an acting performance, and the evolution of his character is similar to another favorite performance of mine, Da 5 Blood's Delroy Lindo this year. He's a pro-Trumpster. He's a black man, but he's pro-Trumpster and very much against his friends who are liberal. Yeah, so I thought both their performances were very good on the evolutionary arc. I just got done with Promising Young Woman, and I think if Carey Mulligan doesn't get nominated for an Oscar, I'm gonna burn down the whole Oscar stage. Like, that's like, she has not been nominated since In Education, which was in 2010. If she doesn't get it for Promising Young Woman, they don't mean anything.
Yeah,
the Oscars don't matter at all.
Damn. I was going to say Trial of Chicago 7, but I obviously haven't seen a lot of stuff that you're talking about.
No, you're right. Who would you nominate?
I think it's going to get nominated for Best Picture, but I would, if I had to choose somebody from that movie, I'm nominating Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, Borat. Dude, I could not believe that was Borat.
Yeah.
Like, that isn't crazy to me how well he can transform his roles, or
Hugo.
I guess how well he gets into the Borat role.
Yeah.
That when you see him as just a normal character, I was like, that's fucking Borat, man.
I mean, that's because
I was impressed.
We see him as Borat, and we see him as Bruno. You know, we don't see the guy underneath. He's very much a character actor in that he transforms into those roles, like you said. So for me, it's like, Chicago 7, Hugo. Like, he plays all these different with different accents.
Miserables.
Yeah, oh yeah, God, that's a big
favorite character in that movie.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. But yeah, I think you're right. As far as best film, the hard thing with that is going to be solo performances, just because you have to pick one out of everybody else. Yeah. That's the tough thing for that movie. When it's an ensemble piece, it's hard to pick just one. Yeah. I can see that. I can see picture, and I can see adapted screenplay for that. Yeah.
I don't know anything about those, so I ain't got anything to say about any of the Oscars or any of that crap. But I'm going to throw one more wrench in it.
Yes.
Biggest, with it being year-end, biggest anticipation for next year as far as movie release or show? Is there anything that you're really looking forward to that was supposed to come out this year that got pushed back to next year?
Yeah, because I saw my number 1 most anticipated movie this year, which was Tenet. My number 3 was Promising Young Woman. My number 2, though, got pushed, and that is Dune.
Oh, yeah, so you did talk about that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you're looking forward to next year, Jesse?
I think just getting things back on track. I can't remember what all has been pushed and what hasn't.
Halloween
I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited for much of the Avengers stuff that's coming out next year. Like, I wasn't pumped for Black Widow. I'm really excited for the shows coming out, like WandaVision and all that stuff. I'm probably more excited for TV this year than I am for movies.
Wow.
Dan, do you got anything you're looking forward to seeing?
Wait,
next
no,
year?
stop though.
Oh,
Fucking
hold on.
presses. Fucking Batman.
I was waiting. I was gonna say it. I'm like,
Batman.
yes,
The
Jesse didn't
Batman.
say it.
Of
I get
Batman.
to fucking say it.
God damn.
You.
Fucking Batman. It's
I'm
the fucking
over
Riddler.
here. Like, let me switch to Dan real quick before Jesse talks, so I can say
No.
Batman.
No, Batman,
This
hands down. That's what I want to
Fucking
see.
Dude, I'm pissed.
Is that a
Fuck
show?
Marvel.
This fucking guy?
DC
Dan.
sucks.
This fucking guy.
No, more shows for me.
Yeah.
Just like I'm a Marvel watcher through
Yeah.
and through. So, yeah, just the shows that they're the branch off of what they've been doing. That's all really for me. I don't know what got pushed.
Yeah, it's a long list.
Yeah.
Quiet Place 2, Jesus, like all these movies are just held up.
Oh yeah,
not
I
excited
forgot
for
about
that.
that one.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in the first one. So
Oh, really?
I think the
I
first
liked
one's
it,
great,
but I was disappointed to the point where I'm not like super pumped for the second one to come out.
I think the second one's gonna ruin the first one.
I agree. The trailer doesn't have me won over.
Yeah. Batman was gonna be my fucking movie, and then Jesse stole. I'm really looking forward to Batman.
My boy, Robert.
Nothing really Marvel, like you said. I was really excited for Black Widow, and like I slowly am feeling that excitement dwindle away. The more and more I watch the trailers, and like the anticipation's gone because of the delays of this year.
Yeah.
Now that it's gonna be out, I'm like, I'll still see it, but I'm not stoked.
How can a movie live up when it's been on the shelf for at least a year by the time it
So
finally
long.
hits?
and it's the least interesting character that they could have picked for a solo movie. So it's
Mhm.
like nobody gives a shit about her before, other than the
Right.
fact that she was hot. And even by the end of it, she wasn't that hot anymore.
I'd rather have
Sorry,
a Hawkeye
Scarlett.
movie. Hawkeye's my favorite Avenger. I'd rather have a Hawkeye movie.
Me too. That's why I got a little guy up there.
Fast
Well,
and
he's
Furious
falling over
10.
off the
That's
fucking
coming out,
shelf.
right?
That's right. Yeah, we got a Fast and Furious movie coming out next year. Probably 2 of them.
I never saw Hobbs. I never saw Hobbs and Shaw. Not that it's like Fast and the
didn't either.
Furious, but like Dan said, I'm looking forward to a lot of shows. Disney's got a ton of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Mandalorian 3, I'm already ready for.
Lightyear.
We got the Boba Fett show that's gonna come out.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Yep, that's gonna be dope. Cobra Kai, they moved up, so
Yep.
that's gonna be out in the next
Friday.
like, 2 days or
Friday.
so.
Yep. All 10 episodes.
I'm pumped that they're letting it out
I was gonna
early, but
ask
also kind of like I feel like it just ended, and now it's like it's already going to be out, and then it's done and over with. And
Yeah.
then like, are they going to push up the next release if there isn't? Because they signed it for I think 2 or 3 more seasons.
Yeah.
Does this adjust when that comes out now at this point?
It's still a year. You probably won't get the next one until next
Dang.
year.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Binge
Though.
watch the hell out of that this weekend.
Right. Like so they tempt you. They go, this is why I don't like getting all 10 at once.
I know.
Because it's like, well, I have an obligation
That's
to
what
watch
she
it.
said.
So like with Mandalorian,
Delayed response.
with
I was
I get
checking
it.
my fantasy fucking.
With Mandalorian, you get 1 episode a week. So you're like, you get done with that episode and you go, I can't go any further. So
Right.
this is it. These fucking
You're on your
guys.
fantasy
You're
fuck.
fucking 5. You're giving me a fucking
Dude,
coughing
you know I'm
attack.
the child of the group.
These fucking guys.
Oh man. But yeah, there's a lot of shows. Movie wise, I don't. Fuck, I can't remember.
It's Batman.
There was so much that was supposed to come out this year that we're now behind on. Batman's the biggest anticipation. I just don't want that to be another Tenet. Like, we build it up so high,
It won't
and then
be.
we see it. I don't think you can fuck that up.
It's not a mind fuck. It's just a movie.
Yeah, I just
Sir.
not that, but like we built Tenet up so high, like we set that pedestal so high that I think we let ourselves down.
Yeah.
You know, like when you talk a movie up so high, and then we're like, well, I better just say it sucks because otherwise we're not sure if we're gonna like it.
Right.
Batman, I think just that I think we'll be blown away by. That's it. I mean, what other year?
Is there another
better than other
Suicide
ones?
Squad
Yes.
in the works?
Yes. God, when does that come out now? Because it got pushed back, but it's still in 2021. I think it's July.
Does Snyder Cut count as a release for next year?
Well, technically, yeah, because it's a redo. Like it's it's the same movie, but it's
Yeah. See, I'm
like
excited.
2
for
hours
that.
longer though.
yeah
They're
So
doing 4 releases.
4 hour
1
long
hour releases
during the whole month.
See, I'm pumped for that.
Mhm.
I like the original. I know it got shit on by most people.
Mm-hmm.
I like the original version, so I think the center cut I'm gonna be pumped about. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Even the director knew it was shit. That's why he was like, I need to make 2 more hours and spice it up and release it because people think I'm an asshat because I made this piece of shit.
I enjoyed it. All right. Anything else we got for this segment?
We were just going to talk about Cobra Kai coming up, but we kind of hit on it.
That was it. I mean, more so just anticipation of it coming out. Just they did push it up because it normally comes out closer to the summer, I believe.
Yeah. It's been like April and May.
I don't know if there's a purpose. I mean, I don't know. Did they
What's
really
the
say
first
why?
episode is going to be like?
Well, I mean, probably coming off that hospital, like those kids got messed up.
Dude, I was like, my jaw hit the floor.
Oh.
I've never seen it, and it's on my list.
Oh, you've never seen any Cobra Kai?
No, I've seen Karate Kid.
This fucking guy.
You know what the first episode's going to be like? It's going to be good.
I wasn't going to watch the fucking...
hoping-
I wasn't going to watch it on
the anticipation
YouTube,
for that
and
is
then
not-
it's on my list on Netflix because everybody said it was
Start
so
watching
great.
it. I got
They just put it on Netflix not too
No.
long ago, right?
like 3 months ago.
Yeah, so
You got to catch
Yeah,
up
3
before
months.
the next one comes out.
I'll watch
this
it all
week.
before. I'll just wait for that, and then
Yeah. It's good. It's really, really good.
I've heard it's amazing.
So-
I mean, if they purchased it from YouTube, it's got to be good.
Yeah, I've been watching it illegal. I've been watching on YouTube, Rod.
Allegedly. So yeah, Cobra Kai's coming out. That will be dope. I don't know, whatever reason they're doing early release, they are. So we get that here this week. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, did you guys realize that 2021 is basically saying that 2020
One.
Fuck.
Yeah.
kicked our
Dude.
ass? Dude, my mind was blown when I saw that.
2020.
Dude, pass.
I'll admit it if they just fucking stop beating up on us. Jeez.
5 of us.
Dude, I'm
That's what she said.
it can't the thing is you can't even ever say, like we always say, oh, nothing can beat this, nothing will be worse than this.
It always
After
happens.
this year, you can't even fucking say that anymore because you never fucking know.
Yeah.
My favorite is that meme
this year
that
was awful, though.
that meme that was God saying something like in the 20s, and they're like, oh, not 2020. So you put all that into one fucking year.
Yeah.
I saw one that was like this dude was like, you think that you've ever had like a, oh man, I wish I didn't tweet that moment. And it was like November 2019. And they were like, the 20s is coming. What should we do with the upcoming roaring 20s and bring back from the 20s? And he was like, pandemics. And it was 4 days before the first confirmed case in China.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking
It was awesome.
China.
Someone knew.
Come on. We already know that answer.
China.
All right, y'all. Let's do Let's Get Social.
Could that have been a segue?
That's our fantastic segue.
It is July 20th, 1969, and man is about to land on the moon.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That's the way the news goes.
Let's Get Social. We got anything going on? Let's Get Social. So, Nashville bombing. That's like the big thing that came out of this last week. It was on Christmas. They caught the guy.
Dude.
Did you see that? He was the
in it.
remains that was in the.
I was going to say, they didn't catch him.
Well, yeah, but
A couple
so
people
they
might have caught him, but
Did you see though that one of like the connection to that guy is like part of a video game production company or something? It's a woman. Like this, so now they're interrogating her.
Jeez, I did not see. I just read when I was pulling up stuff for the show, and I caught the article that said that they had caught him or found him. I had originally saw that a couple days ago, they had said that there was concern because there was what they thought to be remains of a human body nearby, and initially they said there was no one that was hurt. Little did we know it was going to be him. They're still trying to figure out motive, so they haven't come up with the reasoning why.
I think it's just spontaneous.
But it's just a weird thing. It's a weird. It's weird just to bomb something. Initially, we thought, okay, he was sending a message, and there's going to be something else that comes of it because they intentionally did it on a day when they knew nobody was around and nobody was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're sending some sort of message, and then maybe there'll be another bombing or something will come of it.
There's
And
apartments
then-
above all them buildings.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he
Or
did
those
it where
storefronts.
he did it where stores were closed and there wasn't anybody. Like no one got hurt. When does a bombing happen? And
Well,
there's no
he
injuries.
gave 15 minutes
it
for
damaged
people
like
to get out of the
100
way.
buildings, though.
Yeah.
100 businesses.
That's my point, though. He intentionally set this off with no one getting hurt.
But
He didn't set
why?
out like the Unabomber or something to intentionally harm people.
Sure.
So the initial thing was that there's going to be something else. He's sending a message. This is like the start of it. But then to find out that he was killed in it, now it's like, well, what the fuck?
What if he's just a pyrotechnic? I mean, like he loves that kind of thing, you know.
Why kill yourself, though?
That's what I'm saying.
Because that was
Maybe he
my
didn't mean
first
to,
thought.
though. Is what I'm saying.
Could
Like,
be.
Oops.
Maybe he didn't mean to kill himself, but even take that
I
away.
mean, he
what's
put the timer
message?
on the recording. If he couldn't listen to his own, like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
this
Damn
thing
it,
that
I
I
lost
made
track
is
of time.
yeah, right. Like, you have 15 minutes. I'll dick around here for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's just fucking weird, man. So that, I mean, and that's just, it's scary anytime that happens because then it sets that tone, especially if you live there now. Like, you have that fear of, like, do I want to go out? Do I want to be in anywhere public and stuff? Just like, oh, it's crazy.
And
That's
they were
sad.
fast. They sent the bomb sniffing dogs out fast that day, man. They said they covered that whole area in, like, I think it was 2 hours.
I don't think you create a bomb to put in a street to not hurt somebody. I don't believe that he didn't want to. I just.
But then why put out the warning to tell people to evacuate?
Because he's sick.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
if you're gonna harm people, though, you're not gonna give them a warning.
Yeah, you just do it.
Just go take your RV out into a park where there's not going to be. Do it there. Don't put it on a street in front of.
It doesn't send the message though. There's more to it that we're missing for sure.
I know that.
well, I've been on Parler.
Oh, you have not.
I've not, but I've seen
I was about to
screenshots
say,
from
please,
Parler.
bro.
There are many people, many people who believe
So many, the most amount of
The
people.
most people.
there
you've
was
ever seen.
there was an AT&T building. It
I've
was like
seen
right
that.
there.
I fucking saw it.
Apparently, they are tied to a company that helped with the voting machines,
Oh, God.
and he was trying to blow up evidence that would have shown that the Democrats were cheating. And that
Imagine
is
that.
why
How
he
convenient.
did that. So
And he went down. He went down as this great martyr for trying to fix the radio
That
section.
I believe.
Let it go. Let it go.
but yeah, no, I've seen that like a million times now.
Yeah.
And this lady was so serious when she posted it, and then she put source Parler, like that was supposed to be the thing. Like, oh well, she cited it, so yeah, I don't know what the fuck his motive was. They can't figure it out, so why the fuck am I gonna speculate?
I think Ryan's right, though. There's definitely a piece that's missing. Like, as far as logic goes, I don't know. It just, to me, it just sounds like one of those destructive kind of personalities to where he loves, like, quite literally, arsonists and stuff like that. Like, he loves burning down property.
Yeah.
Those people exist. Hell, that's how the Mariners' first stadium went down in flames.
some people
Is he
just want to
22?
watch the world
Huh?
burn.
Was he 22?
He could be, but that wouldn't be a spark because it's bad.
When's the last time we've had
Well, he
a
didn't run
domestic,
away.
like a domestic bombing? It's been a long time.
Had a lot of domestic shootings, bombing
Not
though. I don't
bombings,
know.
though.
Boston Marathon?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
would that would be considered domestic? Those guys
Yeah.
were Americans.
Yeah.
I just mean like here on U.S. soil. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't had bombings in a long
I
time.
think
So yeah,
that's
Boston.
probably
Boston.
the
Probably Boston.
most recent.
And we got a Jake Gyllenhaal movie out of that. Just think what this is going to get.
Yeah. I don't know. That was just interesting to me.
Oh, that was Mark Wahlberg.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Val Kilmer's return.
You're thinking Patriots Day. I'm thinking Stronger.
Oh,
I was thinking what he was thinking. What's stronger?
Stronger's Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the he's not a runner, but he's someone that goes to see one of his friends running in it, and he's standing right next to the bomb, and it blows up and it takes his legs from him. So he starts he has like bionic legs and learns to live again.
Jesus, man, that shit's so crazy. Yep. So yeah, so we had this Nashville bombing. We'll see what comes of it. I had just watched the Unabomber manhunt, so like when I saw it, I'm like, oh fuck, where's this going? What's next? What are we gonna? Because that was the big thing with him. If you're not familiar with the Unabomber, is that his situation was different than your typical like serial killer or whatever, because he wasn't there to see what happened. He wasn't there to see his victims. He didn't know what became of them. He said it in, he was the mail guy. He mailed bombs.
yeah.
He wasn't there to watch, which is what you typically want to see the person get hurt or something come of it. So when I saw this, I'm like, this is different. This is interesting.
Was the
he
Unabomber the
died.
Oklahoma City bombing? Is that what that was? No, that was
Unabomber-
Timothy McVeigh, right? Timothy.
No, Timothy McVeigh was
No, he was Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
Timothy McVeigh?
Yeah.
okay. I was messing up the name. No, yeah, Unabomber was the guy that was mailing the packages, mailing
Oh,
bombs,
Mhm.
and then people were just. He was targeting. People that he thought were kind of like taking over the world, like technology places and stuff like that. So he would target like CEOs of those companies and
Joe Biden.
Yeah. Anyhow, so Nashville bomber. Biggest thing is this this fucking Twisted Tea thing that happened
Whoa,
in
yeah.
Elyria, here in Ohio of all places.
Yeah.
So interesting debate here. Well, one, I'm truly curious if their sales have gone up
Oh,
because ever since watching that,
Twisted Tea?
Yeah.
Dude, nobody ever talks about Twisted
Yeah.
Tea. Twisted Tea is good.
It is good. But now, like, I see people going out and buying it because of that fucking guy.
That's all it
We
takes.
drank Twisted Tea before it was cool. There's always Twisted Tea in our house.
Just depends on who you want to hit.
Yeah, so
Grandma.
I'm curious to see what happened.
Corona sold out.
Are they public?
when-
Who
Exactly.
who sells Twisted Tea? Who's the? Do you know? Like Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Do you know who that is?
No, it's
Just Twisted
definitely alcoholic beverage company. It's not.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
It's not 7-Up, Coke, or Pepsi.
Yeah, I'm curious what their stocks went up after that because you know that people started buying that shit and you knew that it was like a publicity
huge
thing for them.
video.
Yeah, it was here. So Chris sparked a debate. On
I did.
Facebook
Great.
shortly.
I didn't see all
didn't
of
think it
that.
was a
I tried to
debate.
find it, but I didn't get a
Chris
chance to go
sparked a
back.
debate shortly before the show. He had posted that we were going to be talking about.
Sales are up 30%.
Wow, that's legit.
That's a lot.
Good way to end the year. I wish it was.
Chris posted that
Mountain
we were
Dew
going to
can.
talk about it on the show tonight, and then some asshat commented on there. Do you think it was racially related? Do you think the guy that started it, the White Hill Jack, was a racist or not? And I'm curious your guys' thoughts on. Well, I think the answer is obvious, but do you guys have anything that you want to add to that argument?
I don't think that he was.
No?
No. I think he's ignorant, but I don't think.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, I 100% do not think that he was.
Shocked.
No, I think that he's just another.
And you think he was just like an entitled white boy that felt like he had the right to say that word?
No, I think that he's definitely like uneducated, probably ghetto as shit. Like, he looked like a fucking crackhead.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like when you grow up in poverty,
Yeah.
I have a ton of white kids at my school that say it, and none of the other kids care.
What gets you that pass? Why?
It's
to
well,
that
clearly
point-
there wasn't a pass. I mean,
Well, no, but okay, but you said at your school there's white kids that say it and they don't care. So
Because
what
they're
gets you
friends.
that pass?
they're friends.
But he's
That's-
white.
Doesn't
Thought that was a no go. You can't say it.
I
You're
grew up-
white.
I grew up saying it all throughout high school,
Really?
and I said it only around my black friends
Yeah.
after they told me that it was okay.
Yeah.
But there's a difference there.
But and that's
No,
and that's
I
the
get
difference.
that.
And I knew better than to go to a fucking random gas station and say something like that. And even if I did,
Yeah.
if somebody were to have caught me, I wouldn't have been like, man, fuck you, I'll say what I want. Like, I'd have been like,
Yeah.
hey, man, my bad. Like, I'm with my buddy. Like, whatever. Like, I'd just be
Yeah.
apologizing out the ass so I don't catch a can to the face.
Right.
But, like, I think he was just an ignorant person who felt like I'm allowed to say it around the people that I know. Because he even said, where are you from? Like, everybody says that here, like, whatever. And I'm sure that he does. He's got
Yeah.
circles of people who don't care. I know a ton of black people who do not care about specific white people saying
wild
that
to me.
stuff. But when you get, like, when you're with those types of people, I've never said it with an R.
Yeah.
And that's a difference.
Yeah. That was
Because
my thing. I'm like,
I have no black friends in high school or now that would be okay with me saying that.
oh,
and
that's
there
what I
is
thought
a
you were saying you
difference.
were okay with.
No.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
There's a
you were
difference
saying.
between an
I'm like-
A and an ER.
Oh, I 100%
and,
agree. I thought you were saying that you said it with a hard R, and
no.
I'm like, what?
And I don't think that he did in the video ever.
He
either.
did.
Well, if he did, then
No.
I didn't hear it.
No, that's the one thing I'll say. But I
Did not?
I'm gonna elaborate to my point. No.
Okay, I thought he said
No,
it with the hard R.
It was always go.
Oh, it's hard to hear in it. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes it-
I
that's
don't think
somewhat
that
of a
he
difference.
was. I think that he was offended at the idea that this guy was going to tell him what he could say,
Mhm.
and he was comfortable in saying that word. And so, even though the guy said he was offended by it, it was more just like, well, fuck you. You're not going to tell me what I can say. I know plenty of people who think that it's fine. You're overreacting.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think it was ever, this black dude isn't going to fucking tell me what to say, you N-word type of situation.
Okay. See, yeah, so that changes the narrative to me to an extent. I thought he said it with a ER.
No, it's
I
always
did
go.
not realize it was Guh. So I still
He
that
didn't pull
changes-
the Mason Rudolph.
No, here's the deal. I still think he was in the wrong.
Yes.
But it changes my mind on whether or not I believe he was racist. I thought it was ER. I always said he's 100% a racist. I don't think that's okay ever.
Neither do I.
With it being the GGA, maybe I don't think he's a racist now, but I still think he was in the wrong.
Yeah.
I think to your point, there are certain groups of people, and even as whites, that might say that and really not be racist. You know, there's white people that identify more with the African American culture based on like where they were raised or whatever, and they say that as a term of, you know, as endearment
like
or whatever.
dude or anything else.
So to that point, maybe he wasn't racist, but he was still ignorant. And in that situation, he was wrong. The guy kindly asked him to stop.
Yeah.
And he, to your point, continued to say, I'll do what I want. And at that point, I think it's now turned disrespectful because of who you're saying it to. Someone who clearly was not okay with it. So I think that does change things a bit. Chris?
You touched on a lot of what I was going to say. So first of all, I'm going to revert back to my debate earlier today. So when I posted that, the guy who commented it basically was saying that what the white guy said isn't important. That's not a big deal. It's not racist at all, and there's nothing about it. And then he goes, but what the black guy did by hitting him with the can, that's assault, and that is illegal. And I said, okay. So here's the thing. And then he asked me, he goes, do you think what was going on in the video is racist? And before I could even answer, he answered the question for me. And I said, well, is it directed to me, or is it Larry, or who is it? Like, let me know. Because if you're asking me a question, I'm going to give you my honest answer. To me, whether that guy's racist or not, that's not the important thing.
Right.
That's not what we're debating here. I don't care if he's racist or not. Couldn't care less. Not going to make my Christmas card list regardless. Here's the thing. He said a word that no matter what, A-E-R, is a term of a racial slur.
Yep.
Now, if certain people are okay with that, that's one thing. But here's the thing. This guy told him, the black guy told him straight up, this is not acceptable. Knock it off. Stop. He was warned. When you are warned and you continue to exceed that line, you're going to play stupid games and you're going to
win stupid prizes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So when you take a can across the face, it's justified.
Bro.
You crossed the line. I do not care if it's A, X, U, Q. I don't give a shit what is at the end of that word. He told you to stop. It makes him feel bad. Quit the fucking shit. I don't say it. You don't have to say it either. My thing is 100 people, and it's different for every case, so I'm not judging you on this.
No.
100 black people could tell me, like, go ahead, dude, you got free reign. You say whatever you want to say. I will never, ever say that word. I will never feel comfortable saying that word, even in the slightest. So, like, the thing I'd say is if I'm going to use that word, it's got to have a meaning to it. There's got to be a reason why I would pick that word over anything. I don't know. If I call him an idiot or I call him a dickhead or something like that, why would I choose the N word over that? What's the reason for that?
Right.
So there's obvious motivation there.
Yeah.
To me, that's my problem with it. And I got jumped on by two people on this thread too.
Yeah.
Someone else jumped in who has a hillbilly white trash boyfriend and it basically, you know, defending him and all that. Like, well, what he said, he didn't mean it in racial undertones. I'm like, honey, Linda, lick it.
No,
I said,
what?
that's not what we're debating here. Okay. The guy said it's not acceptable. He doesn't want to hear it. Stop.
Yeah.
What got me in that thread was the comment of, well, what he said to him was worse than the.
So you saw it.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and like what? Fuck your mom or whatever. Like whatever.
I missed it because it got deleted.
Yeah. So the guy he goes and keep in mind a black man who commented my page, pro Trumpster. He goes, well, he said, you know, fuck his mom, and I don't think that's acceptable at all. I'm like, I tell my friends all the time, fuck your mom. Like, that's not a term of racial prejudice.
It's got to look at it in the context. Now, I agree with you. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that anywhere in the realms of an African American. I would never, like, you telling me that it's okay. I still wouldn't feel comfortable saying that around you.
I'd say that's great, but
now,
I'm not doing it.
Even if you grew up in a group that said it's okay because you're using it in a sense of, bro, dude, whatever. Okay, that's one thing. Once the context changed, which in his situation it did, he wasn't referring to that guy as his bro or his dude. They were obviously in a verbal altercation. Yes. Him saying at that point has changed the dynamic in which he's using that word to the point that now it has become a racial term and not a term of a brotherhood or a friendship or anything like that. No. And you were asked on multiple occasions to stop.
Yes.
And he gave that dude fair warning.
4 times.
A lot of people would have beat his ass from the start, no questions asked.
Yes.
And he continued to say it multiple times.
Yes.
It wasn't like once here or there. It was every other word.
Yeah.
Yep. And then hit me hit me.
Yeah.
You got hit, bro.
You touched on the biggest part of that. Yeah.
You asked for it.
Yes.
You're gonna get hit.
Yes. And then afterwards they go, well, why did he do that? I have no idea. Like,
slamming down his beers on the
okay.
You're okay, bro.
Okay. Okay.
I know. I was going, okay, you got your ass knocked out.
Do you know how hard you got to get hit with a can for
for
it to bust open?
Yeah.
Look,
Oh, you heard
the
how
dude
hard
deserved
that
to get
was.
his ass beat, but I give him props for not being just KO'd the fuck out. He got hit in the face
I think he was drunk,
with a
man.
full can
Mm-hmm.
and still got up and was like, all right, bro, we good. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I would have been lights
I
out.
think he's been in that situation before.
How many times you get hit in
might
the
be
face with
right.
a can, bro?
You might be
He's
right.
taken
God
hits to the face
damn.
multiple times.
You
Hey,
say that word,
a
you probably got caved in.
A fist and a full can are two different things.
Mhm.
He clacked that dude.
Well, then he
God
punched him like 6
damn.
times.
And he got up.
Good times in the face.
Yeah.
And then he got freaking dropped again, folded in half.
And
Bro.
I love it. There's guys next to him too in the video. They're just getting their groceries or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it's Thursday. Huh.
I know.
Thursday in Illyria."
Illyria, right?
I like
Well,
the
that-
lady that was recording. It starts off with, he's going to pop him. And
Yeah.
then it ends with, I don't blame you, dude.
yeah.
Yeah. That I think that gas station has a YouTube. Is the owner there has a YouTube of altercations that occur?
God, really?
It's probably.
I believe so.
Well, I mean, based on the way he was like, where are you from? Like in this area, we say it. There's
Mhm.
probably obviously concerns, and to Dan's point, things probably happen around there.
He's got
You know, like he felt comfortable enough there to be doing that.
Mhm.
So what tone has been set? I don't know. I'm not familiar with Illyria,
My-
you know, but
and there's parts of Illyria. I mean, there's some nice areas. There's some areas you want to stay away from. There's
Yeah.
areas that you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, you're gonna get
take a
hit with
twisted
a
tea to
can.
the face.
Yeah.
So I
God
mean,
damn.
My thing is, I'd like to think like even if they gave me that right, my vocabulary is more advanced than that. I don't need to say that word ever for anything. Like, look. Here's the thing.
It's starting to sound like that one person's mom.
If I what? What are we talking
You
about?
all sound uneducated when you cuss on that show. You're so much better than that.
That was a smart lady. No,
Thank you.
No, but
Fuck your mother.
Wow.
oh, don't say that.
No.
Don't say that. No, but like I would like to think even if I'm cutting you down, I'll find other ways to do it.
Yeah.
Like I don't need that.
That's just like that's like a cheap shot. That's like an easy out.
Yeah.
Like, just say I don't know, man. Either way, the dude, I was just shocked watching that. More so even than just the verbal altercation. That dude, and he wound up.
Yeah.
That dude had that thing back there, and he dropped it. He's like, "Oh, you fucking
I
dropped
know.
it!" And then the next thing is just clack.
But what that does is it allows the uppercut almost like so more power. So
Bro.
he's picking it up from here, and it's like straight up Mortal Kombat right through the
Yep.
ceiling.
I wish he would have landed it, though. Just like the flip and bow.
Bro,
Yeah.
that would have been so legit. Like when they do the
Oh,
baseball
well.
toss.
Next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a
Maybe
night.
he fucking learned his goddamn lesson.
hope so.
If he didn't, he'll be back in that store next week.
Bro, that shit was wild.
And then you'll have
But
idiots like
Ice
the
can.
two on my status who go, well, you know, it's obviously an incident. The guy's the problem.
See, you're ignorant as fuck if you put the blame on the other dude. in
Yeah.
that situ- How do you rationalize that he was in the wrong? He didn't. He tried to talk the dude down.
Mhm.
He tried to ask him to stop. He gave him fair warning. He said, "Look, it's enough,"
Did,
and you continued. It wasn't like he just popped off right off the rip and took the dude out like
Did you-
after the first.
did
word
you see when he
said.
walked away, like kind of remorseful, like oh
The dude
shit.
that hit him? I'm
Yeah.
sure he probably
He
felt
walked
bad.
away like
Was that
I don't think he
remorse?
felt bad.
Because to me, it looked like he was hurt. Like he was deeply
that's what I mean. Like he's
He did look
offended
pissed.
Yeah.
by what just happened. He was pissed off that he had to get to that point.
Yeah.
That he reacted that way
Yeah.
because it should never have gotten that.
Yeah.
That.
I don't
that
think he
far.
felt bad that he hit the dude, but
Nah,
I think about the
not
overall
that,
situation.
just-
No,
yeah,
the overall
that's
situation.
what I meant. Sorry if I misspoke
No,
on that, but
I said I think he felt bad, but I meant more like what you said. Like
Yeah.
he felt like dumb that he got
This-
put in that situation where he feels above that and he
Right.
reacted.
right.
Not that he felt bad for clacking the dude because he deserved it. So fuck that.
I just feel like this show has made it apparent that we don't support that kind of thing. So like,
Absolutely
you
not.
know, from the George Floyd march that we went to this summer, like we have repeatedly said that is unacceptable. So for anybody who's going to comment on a page or do anything like that, look, maybe that guy in the video is not racist. Maybe you are.
Yeah,
That's true.
Right.
If you're defending,
defending-
if you're
yeah.
blaming the black guy and defending the dude,
Yeah.
there's no reason for you to do that other than the fact that you're probably racist. You can say that maybe he didn't deserve that ass beating or something.
Yeah.
Fine, okay, but the dude's not wrong.
You're no different than the person that's saying that going to a protest for George Floyd or agreeing with those protests and they're destroying all these businesses. When you don't see what the bigger picture is, it's no different. You're a racist. Right. The only reason you have an issue with it is because you're a fucking racist.
If I poke and prod at Jesse and say something that pisses him off so bad, but I keep doing it because I know it's getting under his skin, whatever comes my way, I fully expect it.
You have to know when to draw the line. There's a boundary for everything. And the guy tried to initiate that. He gave the guy a fair chance. At that point, there's no one in the wrong but him. I don't care if he said fuck your mom or whatever. Like, you could call him a fucking cracker or whatever a derogatory term is, you know, towards him. He gave him fair warning. At that point, walk away, apologize, own up to it, be the bigger man, whatever it might be.
I wish I was in the store when that happened. I would have been like, all right, go ahead.
Bro. I don't know what I honestly probably would have tried to break it up. Like, I am always that, like, I don't know. I'm always the one that, like, I try and get in between the altercation and talk them down and bring some sort of,
calm demeanor
to it and like make you realize like, bro, you're being an asshole. Apologize to him.
You're a better man than I am.
I don't know, man. Like,
handle your business.
I don't
what
like.
I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like seeing that stuff, especially when you got someone like him where he's obviously ignorant or stupid. He maybe he's not well educated.
That's more of the reason to try not to educate him because he ain't gonna understand.
Right. I don't know. I'd try and I got that stupid soft side. I fucking cry at every movie and. I like to find the best in people, even though I probably shouldn't. So
all dogs really do go to heaven.
I talk about like how I feel bad, like for fucking like the villains in movies and shit. I don't know. I try and find the good, and it's not always for the better. But anyhow, check out that video if you haven't watched it yet, because it's blowing up. It's fucking memes and TikToks and all kinds of fun stuff.
I'm waiting for the meme that's gonna come up of the sneakers app being on that can. Smacking you in the face with an L.
Yeah, you know they're gonna market the hell out of that shit.
Yeah, bro.
I'm waiting for that meme to come out.
What else you got?
Last thing I had was Lori Loughlin got out of jail finally. Yeah. She did her 2 months, which I'm surprised. Look, here's the deal. I know 2 months is not much, but like I said,
not anything.
Look, I know that, but I watched that 60 Days In. Dude, I don't think I'd want to be in jail for 60 days, regardless if it or
Nobody
not.
wants to be in jail for 60 days. You did the crime, though.
Here's the deal.
She's not in those jails, though, that are on those TV shows.
No, they were pretty, like, easy, though. I remember I was saying how, like, it was, like, they got to do whatever, but even then, I don't want to be in jail for 60 days, especially as a female and as a celebrity.
Yeah. You and Becky.
She did her 60 days. Her husband got 5 months, so he's got 3 months left. Combined, they got to pay, like, a $500,000 fine, a bunch of community service and stuff. But, I mean, what's the going punishment for that? I'm surprised she got any jail time. Look, we talk about how celebrities and stuff get off and don't do any. She actually did 2 months in jail. That's surprising.
What was it, the legal term? Like, she siphoned money or she...
It was wire fraud and something else because it was bribery or something like that.
Bribery was one of them.
Yeah, it was bribery and, like, wire fraud, and then the husband got both of those plus something else.
You're lucky you're out in less than 5 years.
But for a celebrity to actually get jail time... Especially fucking Becky from fucking Full House.
But look what you said there. It's
That's
surprising because a celebrity got in jail.
That's what I mean. That's what's
it's a different conduct.
That's fucking stupid. Because if it's me bribing somebody to get my kid into Harvard one day and they catch me, I'm going down.
You bet your
They're
ass.
gonna take every fucking penny, and my kid ain't going to Harvard either.
But I'm wondering what's a normal punishment for like the level of what she did. She
5
bribes.
years.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen like corporate CEOs, they go to jail for longer than that, man.
Yeah.
Like the Enron people, they're in jail for 5-10 years.
But that's a huge conspiracy, like billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, whatever they had to pay in the fine, they made her like pay it back, like $500,000 for college tuition.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't really harm, like Enron. I mean, you got to think the amount of lives that were implicated because of their actions. Who did she really hurt, other than just being a dumb bitch? I mean,
the poor kid that was trying to get into that last scholarship.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
that didn't have $500,000 to go to Harvard or wherever it was. I don't remember. Stanford? Wasn't it Stanford or something?
But they weren't getting in regardless if she bribed those people or not. It didn't affect them really.
Dumb bitch.
Maybe. I mean, she did. I mean, because here's the deal. Like at the end of the day, she still took advantage of the system, and it's a wealthy person trying to fucking get ahead of everyone else. Like, they feel entitled. So she was being a dumb bitch. She was hot on Full House though.
She's trying to be. She wants to go to school to be a doctor now.
Who?
Oh, Lori Loughlin?
Yeah.
Is that
Really?
her or daughter?
I thought it was her. I thought that's what I read was her.
I mean, what do you
So
what do you do as the daughter at this point, though, knowing like you pretty much got bribed to go into school? Like, where are you going to go at this point? Your
She
education doesn't
knows.
feel like,
She's gonna go to high-end school still.
regardless.
They'll just be like, "Oh, wink, wink. You don't have to give us any money now, but we'd love a new wing on our administration building." Like
Yeah.
that's what normally happens. Why they couldn't
Right.
wait to get it done?
Bro, speaking of which, that just reminded me the fucking huge LeBron James investment. Saying
yeah.
new wing,
Tangier.
buying out Tangier.
Yeah.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah.
I'm saddened because Tangier is like, me and my family go there all
Staple.
the time. It's a staple in Akron. And I know that they originally talked about him going to be doing that community center on there, but now he's taking over the whole fucking thing. It could be cool. I do like that they're going to allow it to be open to the public, at least a good portion of it. You like it at all?
I don't know. I feel like
Wow, the LeBron man does
I
not
know.
like it.
my biggest thing is it's like when he made his school, he took over an old closed down building that wasn't being used for anything.
Yeah.
Tangier is a staple. I mean, it's like if Swenson's went under because of COVID
I
and
agree.
he came in and took over a bunch of stuff. I feel like he saw it as an opportunity when the philanthropist that he is, I feel like he should have saved Tangier if he was going to do something. I don't know if he I wouldn't put that on him. It just feels like he took advantage of something that as an Akronite you would hold more dear.
I feel like
I guess. I don't know.
I
I'm not
get-
going to blame him for it. I just don't like it.
I say I get that point, but also if they were going under, you do, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, you're going to take advantage of the
Sure.
opportunity.
You could do the same thing somewhere else though.
Yeah, I get that, but what happens if he didn't and it went under? At least now he's preserving the building. It'll still be a staple there as far as remember. Like if he doesn't take over and it sits vacant and becomes an eyesore in Akron, you know, like were they going to go under regardless and he stepped in
He
and
completely revamped that other building because I used to it used to be an education building, and then I was able to go in there a couple times because a buddy of mine started a church there and they utilized the basement for their services at first.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful building. They completely modernized it to like that weird they modernized it in that fashion where like in 10 years it's not going to look okay type of thing. And I wouldn't want to see a classic like Tangier turn into something of that modernized, completely a shell of what it used to be.
Yeah.
I get that it's for outreach and stuff, but they could have did it somewhere else. I don't know.
I get that. I agree.
If I was a billionaire and a staple like Luigi's went under, I'm saving Luigi's, and that would do so much more for my home value that people, because there's a lot of people in Akron that do not like LeBron still.
But based on what his organization is, LeBron James Family Foundation can't bail out Tangiers just because they bail out Tangiers because it's a staple.
I get that.
It's the nonprofit. It has to fit what your partnership and what your business structure is. It just can't be like, oh, Tangiers going to go over and I'm LeBron and I got money. Let me buy it out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not blaming him for it. I just don't like it.
I get that.
You have to have a business to launder money.
God damn.
He's
Did
keeping
you guys
it
see
all in
LeBron's
that
son's gonna
same
fuck
area.
Scottie Pippen's wife?
Bro, I seen that you slide into DMs and Vanessa's salty.
Wait, what?
So
Jesse can tell you.
What is her name? It's
His estranged wife.
yeah, they're like not together, but they're technically still married. She's slept with a bunch of people, like Mike Beasley and some other NBA people.
Who are we talking about though?
Scottie Pippen's wife.
wife.
It's like Lasha Pippen or something like that. I don't know. I had never heard of her before.
Let's see if she's hot.
Second
But,
best Pippen.
She
Bronny supposedly slid in her
apparently she
DMs.
fucks all these people. Bronny liked one of her pictures. People said that he slid in her DMs trying to fuck her.
Larsa.
Aunt Larsa, that's what it is.
God
damn. And so all
Chris is
these
sliding
people
in some
were like
DMs next.
making all these memes. Like one of them was like Bron,
All right,
whenever
seen
he
a few minutes,
finds out
Chris.
about Bronny, and he's like dragging him away, and he's like, she is bad though, and like all this other shit. But then
Bronny's like what?
Bronny-
17,
so-
16?
Put a sock on the door.
16? I don't know, he's underage. But
Get himself
so
a cougar.
Bronny posted on his Instagram, and he was like, all I did was like one of my friend's mom's pictures on Instagram. Y'all are childish. And then Savannah was on there and was like,
That's Pippen's wife? It kind of looks like him.
she was like, regardless of whatever you guys think is funny, you're still talking about a minor. I hope that you never have to deal with this with your kids. You guys chose the right one today and got all pissed. LeBron obviously didn't say anything because he's not even going to bring attention to it. But there must have been some truth to it for Savannah to say something.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think that there was probably screenshots or something that got out.
She didn't say shit about him smoking weed and all that controversy that came. He's getting a lot of bad publicity lately.
He's acting out, man. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think there was some truth to it that she put a stop to it because they haven't spoken about other things before about him, and she was on this one and on it quick.
Yep.
So something's going down there. Bronny's acting a fool, bro.
I think that he has all of the talent that his dad does, but he's not going to be as successful because he is
Big Shadow.
I don't even think it's Big Shadow. I think it's he grew up one of the richest children from the greatest basketball player of all time.
Yep.
Feels like it's going to be easy. Yep. It is easy right now. And
Ron is where he is now because of how he grew up and what he worked to achieve.
In Akron.
Bronny is given everything.
Yes.
And he is, I mean, he's
skilled, but he's not,
Yeah.
he didn't earn it all.
Yep.
He's in those traveling leagues because of his dad, not because
Remember
of him being
LeBron's statement,
amazing.
earned, not given.
Well, and that's the thing is like,
yeah,
it's surprising to me because I don't have like a ton of interactions with them or anything, but like when I worked at the movie theater, that was the one that was a mile away from their home. They would come in all the time. When Bronny and what's the younger one's name? Bryce?
Yeah.
When they would come in, people would clamor to them because that was when Bronny was like 8, but he was still like balling out. Those first videos were coming out of him hitting 3-pointers and stuff, and like people would come up and try and get him autographs, and whoever was with them, it was usually either Gloria or Savannah, they were like, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And they would just try to make sure that they were like normal kids, and they were always very respectful. Like the kids would always say like, oh, thank you, thank you, sir, like yes sir, no sir. Like they treated other people like normal people.
Mm-hmm.
And now I see more and more videos of Bronny. He just kind of seems like a dick.
Yeah.
Well, that's living in that lifestyle like you guys were talking about, you know?
Yeah, and LeBron is known to have been a major dick whenever he was younger, and up until Miami when he seems to have matured was when he got
he
better.
was notorious
but
for like not tipping service people.
That's
and
what I
stuff
heard.
like that.
People that went to school with him said that he was an asshole.
Mhm.
I hope Bronny gets it together, but he seems like an ass right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with your point, whereas like he is starting off much more on the wrong foot, and he's in the spotlight a lot, but not for the good things, where we always have talked about Bron. He's never really in the news for bad stuff. He's in the news for the good things that he's doing and the giving back. And Bronny, right off the rip from an early start, is not on the right foot.
That's a difference,
And I think that over long term, and as things get bigger for him, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Can I have the last word on Aunt Becky?
Oh, yeah.
Can you turn the...
It's on you already.
All right, I appreciate it. I just want to speak to Lori Laughlin, is her name?
Lori Laughlin.
All right, Lori
Laughlin, maybe.
Laughlin.
Lori, Aunt Becky.
Okay.
Aunt Becky.
Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there's a heart.
There's a heart.
Thank you. A hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there's a face of somebody who needs you. That's all. I'm Julie Chen Moonves. Good night.
When you're lost out there and you're all alone,
Hit it,
somebody is waiting to carry you home.
Let's do the corny.
Everywhere you look.
We need to do a corny 80s intro for our shows. Turn around and be like,
Wow, it's coming out after that Dolly Parton last week. Jesse's all about it.
That's a song, man.
He's
I
trying
know
to
it.
take your throne.
I know the song.
he's a better singer than I am.
My God.
I'm just a poet.
I love it.
Let's end the shit.
I think that's it, guys. I think that's a good way to end it all. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Check out the YouTube. Check out everybody's stuff. Filmfreak.com.
Everybody's stuff.
At Jesse Young SI on Twitter. Dan is AcroKicks330, YouTube and Instagram. And you know my stuff, hopefully. If not, whatever. Not worried about it. Just follow the show and listen, like, all that cool stuff. Peace out.